So last week we were told Shinsuke was coming back. There are rumors about what he's going to come back and do, but I won't put them out there because that would be a spoiler. But there are rumors out there. So Shinsuke comes back. We know that Liv and Raquel are going to have title celebration tonight. So we've got a title celebration to look forward to. We've got Escobar against Damian Priest. We've got Xavier Woods against LA Knight. LA Knight on the show, which is going to definitely excite a few people. And as we said, Escobar against Damian Priest. So the whole LWO and Judgment Day feuds is going to continue rumbling along. And then also, obviously, the news coming through the other day that Night of Champions is going to be returning. The last one was 2015. Night of Champions is replacing King and Queen of the Ring. So we're not getting that show anymore. No more King or Queen of the Ring. Don't know if the tournament is still happening. I would guess not. I would think not. And actually, one thing I know about Vince, and I'm not saying this was Vince, but one thing I know about Vince is he really does not like tournaments. There's a reason as to why we don't get loads of tournaments. There's a reason as to why King of the Ring was not a yearly thing. You know, you easily could have had King of the Ring every single year. Could have been a massive deal. If you think about New Japan, they have the likes of the G1, and WWE don't really have anything in comparison. They did a World Cup, obviously, to tie in with the World Cup. I think they did a World Cup 4 years before that to tie in with the World Cup as well. But, tournaments are just not a thing that Vince enjoys. So I don't know if this was a Vince decision. I don't know if Vince said, no, I don't want to do a tournament. Tournaments just don't work. And whether he poo-pooed it or whether they just decided not to go that way. But either way, it is going to be Night of Champions instead of King and Queen of the Ring. Jojo, shout out to you. Hope you are well. Harvey said Nakamura has returned. It's been announced. Who do you think he'll go for? Well, I don't want to say, to be honest, because there is a very, very, very strong rumor that we might know who he's going to go for. So I think rather than say and kind of spoil it, we'll just let it play out. So unfortunately, I can't really avoid those spoilers. So it does kind of take that sort of excitement away, if you will. I will be shocked if he doesn't go after the person that is rumored to go after. So if you've seen those rumors, and they've been absolutely everywhere today, then you'll know, obviously, who we're talking about. Arlene said, I think Night of Champions is still going to be King of the Queen of the Ring, but they've changed it to a better name. Donald said, any update on Bray? Nothing. No. Kitson said, how did it get spoiled? Well, I mean, it came through Fightful, but I'm not having a pop at Fightful at all. I really like Fightful. I've said loads of times I really like Sean Rossap. I think he does a great job. I really like Fightful. As soon as I heard that he had banned James Chadwick or blocked James Chadwick, I liked him even more. He went up in my estimation then. So, yeah, I do really like those guys. So they've obviously found out some information, and it's come through there. They're a really reliable source. So, and as we said, you know, clearly they've got their head screwed on. They know who the wrong guns are on social media. And so, yeah, I really like them, and I think they've probably got this one right. James is in the chat. Good. I didn't notice you there, mate. James is in the chat. Shout out to you, buds. Jellyhead said Fiend needs to come back. Yeah, I think a lot of people would like to see the Fiend return. I think for me, we just need to get Bray back. I mean, whether you bring back the Fiend or whether you bring back Bray or how you want to do it, I think just get him back. I understand that when he comes back, you need to have a creative story for him to, you know, be able to tell. But I was under the impression that we were doing that anyway. I was under the impression there was already a long-term creative story that we were telling. So, you know, I mean, we don't know the identity of Uncle Howdy. I have said before, I don't know that will ever be revealed. I believe it to be Bo Dallas, right? But I don't know if that character is meant to be Bo Dallas, or is it just Uncle Howdy? And like, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that it's Bo that's behind the mask. It's Uncle Howdy, right? And it never gets revealed. Just like Kane, you know, Kane was Glenn Jacobs. No one was looking at, well, I say this, maybe they were, but I don't think anyone was looking at Kane going, is he going to be revealed to be Isaac Yankem? When are they going to tell us that's Isaac Yankem? When are they going to tell us that's fake Diesel? So I don't think we were ever doing that with Kane. And as I said, I think we could be looking at the same thing here with Uncle Howdy. So I don't know what the long-term story is. It felt like we had just got Bray back to doing Funhouse and like really remembering who he was, embracing who he was. Which I think everyone was like, yeah, the Fiend, man. He's got, now that he's kind of remembered who he is and has gone back to, you know, what he used to do, the Funhouse. The Fiend, yeah? You're going to bring back the Fiend, yeah? So it felt like we were quite close to the Fiend anyway. I just think get him back, get him into a feud, tell a good story, have some fun Funhouse episodes. And then, yeah, at the match, bring back the Fiend. People have waited long enough, man. People have waited long enough. And I know that Bray said that the Fiend was done and he wasn't going to bring the Fiend back. But to be honest, he also said, I don't like watching my matches. And the very next episode of SmackDown, that's exactly what he was doing. So he has basically told us lots of stuff in that interview, which I believe was in character, that I think was probably there to kind of further the story. I think he used that interview to push the story further and by lying to us. Because don't forget, at the time, Uncle Howdy was telling us that Bray was a liar. So I think Bray's used that interview to, as part of the narrative, as part of the story, which is quite clever, if true, if that's what's how it's played out. But as we said, let's just get him back now. Christopher said, Freddie Prinze Jr. said that Seth walked out of Raw after WrestleMania 39, which WWE have denied. Do you think Seth could leave WWE if he's unhappy? If Seth is unhappy, then could he leave WWE? Sure. I mean, if you're unhappy, you wouldn't want to stay somewhere. I do think there probably are frustrations with Seth Rollins. Those frustrations, I mean, look, if WWE have said Seth didn't walk out, then I'm more inclined to believe that than I am Freddie Prinze Jr., who I have no problem with. I'm not saying he's a liar or anything like this. He might be telling the truth. But I just think, you know, there's a lot of sources and fake news. And Freddie Prinze Jr. is going to have contacts, though. He's going to know people. But I just sort of think, like, if Seth had walked out, I'm pretty sure it would have come out anyway. I'm pretty sure there's so many leaks and so many people backstage. You've got people that set up the ring. You've got like people that run and grab coffees. You've got obviously the lighting guys, the sound guys. You've got the makeup people. Like, all of these leaks don't just come from the wrestlers. There's so many people involved in putting on Raw and putting on SmackDown. This is why trying to keep things secret is an absolute nightmare. So if Seth had walked out, my gut feeling would be that we would have heard of it. So if WWE are denying it, saying it didn't happen, then I'd be more inclined to believe them for now, but definitely worth keeping an eye on. In regards to could he walk out if he's unhappy? Sure, because Sasha did it. Naomi did it. So what would stop Seth doing it? So if he's unhappy and he wants to walk out, absolutely. And I actually think he is. I do think he's unhappy. He did an interview just before or around Clash at the Castle last year. If you've not seen it, check it out. It's him and Ariel Helwani, and it's a really insightful interview. The things he talks about being the macho man of this generation, and he talks about being frustrated and talking about how he believes he's the best wrestler in the world, but he's just unfortunate to be in the same era as Roman Reigns. And there didn't seem to be animosity there, but I think there was a jealousy, because I think Seth wants to be Roman. He wants to be the face of this company. He doesn't want to just be someone that comes out and cackles. and then goes to the back and people love his music and that's it. Like, he wants to come out, put on banging promos, tell banging stories, be involved in banging matches. And I think that for him, like, he's just been like quite low down the cards. You know, he's not around any kind of titles of note. He's certainly not around the Universal or WWE. He did a little summit with the US title at the end of last year. But, I mean, as we said, I know that Triple H is trying to make them more important, but they're not, are they? Let's be honest. They're not. I mean, the IC title's pretty goated right now because of Gunther, but no one's going to, like, you're not going to see Roman happy to carry the Intercontinental title after being at the top of the cards. Like, Hulk Hogan wasn't going to be happy dropping down to the IC title after being at the top of the cards. Stone Cold wouldn't be happy dropping down to the IC title after being at the top of the card. Like, the thing is that the IC title has been built up, but it's been built up for the next generation that are coming through so that it matters and it means something. If you're Karrion Kross and you get the Intercontinental title, it means something now. If you're Bron Breakker and you get the Intercontinental title, it means something now. If you're Seth Rollins and you get the Intercontinental title, great, but it ain't the WWE or Universal. You get to a stage, you get to a point in your career where you are above, you're too big for the mid-card belts. That's what they are. They're mid-card belts. And like for Seth, you know, it's nice to get them, I suppose, because take Sheamus. It'd be cool for Sheamus to get it. He's never had it. And he's been away from the title picture for so long that for him, getting the Intercontinental would be a big deal, be a real cool moment, right? People were really willing for him to do it. But I just can't say the same for Seth. I think in a lot of our minds, Seth is still right up there with, like, not Roman level, but yeah, he's right. He's the macho man, isn't he? He's the macho man to Hulk Hogan. He's just that step below. He's just that step below. He's like, you know, he's the Bret Hart of this kind of generation. Bret Hart had a few chances at being at the top, but never had that kind of 10-year run at the very top without, like, us looking at other people. When Bret was around, we were looking at Psycho Sid, we were looking at Diesel, we were looking at Undertaker, we were trying to bring through Stone Colds, we were looking at Shawn Michaels. Like, Bret could never cement himself as the face. He had runs, he had time, he had fleeting moments, just like Seth. But Bret was not Hulkamania. Bret was not John Cena. Bret was not Roman Reigns, where they're at the top and they are, you know, the face of the company. He was one of the faces, just like Seth is one of the faces, alongside Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles, blah, 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 blah. And I don't think he likes that. I really, really, if you watch that interview, it's so interesting. I don't think he likes that at all. So I think he wants to get right up there, being amongst it. I think he's counting the days down. I bet he was praying for Roman to lose that title at WrestleMania, literally on his knees backstage, hoping that the belts would become available again, because there's just nowhere for him to go. What's he going to do? Faff around in the tag division like Sammy and Kevin? Or go and start another feud with Austin Theory, who's never had a world title, and Seth should be levels above. But instead, you know, they have to do some back and forth there, or, you know, as we said, go over and do something with Gunther. But honestly, right now, it looks like Gunther's going to go on to break the record for being longest IC champion. So even if he does go in the draft to SmackDown and start a feud with Gunther, I can't even see Seth winning that feud. I can't see him winning it. I can't see him beating Gunther, because I think we're fully on board the Gunther hype train. It's difficult. It's so difficult, isn't it? Like, it's really, so it's a real problem. Like, when you have kind of, when you first come in and you're built up and you're the hot young thing, you know, like how Bron Breakker probably will be, and how Theory is at the moment. You know, Theory's on that ascent. And but like, when you get there, when you get to the top, staying there is just as hard. And what will happen is you won't stay there. There's no way you're going to be champ forever. So you'll dip back down. And like with Seth, he's dipped down And he's been at this kind of dip down level. You can make an argument he might have even dipped down again, right? So, but he's been at this dip down level for quite a long time. I can't even remember last time he was champ. It's been a while. So, yeah, we could spend a long time talking about Seth and where he is mentally. I don't think he walked out. We'll have to keep an eye on it. But I do agree. I think that he is not happy at the moment. Krista said, I think Roman should have dropped the title at Mania to give other people shots. Arlene said, Roman in an interview mentioned how Seth wants to be in his spot, but it's not for him. Maybe Seth should win the Money in the Bank, tease another great heist, said Jason. That could be fun. Be better than what we've been doing with Money in the Bank. I mean, who's been winning Money in the Bank? We gave it Theory in the worst cash-in I've ever seen. No shadow of a doubt in my mind. The worst cash-in I have ever seen from Austin Theory last year. And then who was before that? Who had the briefcase before that? I remember Otis having it, and that was pretty rubbish. He ended up losing it to The Miz, and it just, I mean, that was rubbish. We just don't seem to be able to book the briefcase very well, do we? I don't know why, man. Hopefully it changes this year. Seth winning it would be pretty cool, actually. Seth winning it would be really cool. Do you know why? Actually, that makes a lot of sense, because not only can he tease cashing in on Roman, but if Cody wins at SummerSlam, who better to have the briefcase than Seth? Whilst Cody is champion, because listen, Seth's got to. He's got to get some payback. He lost 3 times to Cody. He lost 3 times. No wonder he's upset. So he's got to get some payback on Cody. And what better way than Cody winning the title at SummerSlam and then Seth cashing in his Money in the Bank, taking the title off Cody? So Cody has it, but again, maybe he doesn't have it very long. Perhaps he wins it at SummerSlam, loses it that same night. Oh my God, yes! I was going to do that at WrestleMania. I was doing that at WrestleMania last year. I said, put the belt on, they put the belt on Theory, and I was like, cash it in at WrestleMania. Have Cody win at Mania, have Theory cash in straight away. Obviously, they didn't go that way. It's clear they want to get Roman to 1,000 days. But by the time we get to SummerSlam, the 1,000 days will be done. Tick, thanks for coming. So then we can maybe put the belt on Cody at SummerSlam and then have Seth cash in that same night. Oh, man. That would upset people. But hopefully it would upset them in a good way, because you are taking the belt off Cody, but you're putting it onto Seth, and people love Seth. And that would be Seth getting some revenge for what happened. And Cody would have done it. He would have done it. He will always have that moment. The boyhood dream will always have been achieved, and I'm sure he'll get the title back eventually. But listen, one thing we know in the world of wrestling is that the money is in the chase. The money is in the chase. So rooting for a babyface to get to the title, that's where the money is. That is what it's all about. Once the babyface is there, it's really hard. It's really hard to book a babyface on top for a long period of time. So it's much better to have like a heel as champion and have babyfaces chasing, like what we're seeing with Roman Reigns. Because part of the thing is that after a while, people get bored. And if you get bored of a heel and you're like, oh, I'm bored of this person, I really want a new champion. Good. That's what you're meant to want. You're meant to want a new champion if it's a heel. But if it's a baby face and you get bored, that means the baby face has run out of steam, and that's not as good, is it? So that's a lot harder. Svata Branda, shout out to you, my friends. Really appreciate the support. Hope you are well. Svata Branda says, Seth has a reason to be going after Roman for the titles. Remember, he does have a win over Roman by DQ, but that just cements his claim for a rematch. Yeah, it's not a claim that he's been making, though, or if he has, it's a claim that has kind of got lost amongst other feuds. So, yeah, he can absolutely make a claim for a rematch. I don't remember him ever getting one after Royal Rumble. I can't remember him ever getting one, to be honest. But he's not been very vocal about that. I mean, that you're going back to Royal Rumble 2022. So you're going over like 15 months ago now. And as I said, he hasn't been coming out week after week calling for a rematch. But I mean, in all fairness, they don't want him around the top of the card because Seth's a problem, to be honest. It's a little bit like Sammy. Sammy was a bit of a problem because he got super over. People wanted to see him win the title, but WWE clearly wanted to keep the belt on Roman. We know that now. Didn't know that at the time. Thought that Cody was getting it. But even so, it felt like Sammy was getting in the way, and we had to do some pretty heavy work of settling Sammy down and kind of making sure that there was some segments of Sammy and Cody and that they were both cool with each other. And look, guys, these two like each other. They're rooting for each other. Yeah, you don't need to pick sides. It's all right. You can support both. So we had to do that kind of work. But Seth, for example, he is someone that people really like. They love singing his song. I actually think he'd be perfectly acceptable to beat Roman. Perfectly acceptable, because I think that Seth's a bit overlooked, which might sound a bit crazy, but if you say to the average person, if someone says, who do you think should beat Roman, right? What people I think are hoping for is that you come up with a fun answer like, well, Gable Steveson. Should be Gable Steveson, right? Olympic gold medalist. He's going to go to the moon. We haven't seen him yet, but he's a beast. He's the next Brock Lesnar. What a better way of bringing him in and having him win the title, blah, blah, blah. I think people want that, and they want that kind of conversation, right? They might not agree with Gable Steveson, but they want some, this person you don't know or this person you haven't seen. It should be Bron Breakker or whoever, right? If you turn around to most people and say it should be Seth, the reaction you get is Seth. Seth. Yeah, Seth. Seth Rollins. You know Seth Rollins? One of the best wrestlers in the world. That's Seth, yeah. That one. I have no problem with it being Seth, to be honest. I don't mind. I don't mind it being Seth, but they can't afford to have him around because they want to get him Roman to 1,000. So if Seth had been calling for a rematch, he would have lost it. That's the issue, isn't it? Anyone within these past 1,000 days that would have called for a rematch or tried to step up, they would have been booked to have took the L, to have took the loss. So that's why I think they've purposely been trying to keep Seth busy and keep him well away from Roman. So yeah, I mean, look, Seth can absolutely go back to the fact that he's got a DQ win. But as I said, I like the idea of him winning Money in the Bank. I think that's pretty cool as well. Daz, shout out to you, buds. Appreciate the support. I hope you are well. Alfie, I'll get to your message in a sec, bud. I hope you had a good day. I want to read a couple of these because I've seen these coming in a few times. Stand Back TV said, Days, whenever there is a spoiler, such as a return or debut, will you give a spoiler warning before you mention it? If there is a spoiler in regards to a return or a debut, will you give a spoiler warning before mentioning it? Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that I do try to do that. I can't say that I've been successful in doing it all the time, but I do try to do that. For example, I know some news about tonight that's been all over social media and we haven't touched it. We haven't spoke about it. Just because, I mean, to be honest, the ones that come to mind recently that I think I might have dropped the ball on a little bit was when Carrion returns. Because, and I think there was another Braun. I think it was Braun. So I dropped the ball on those because Fightful dropped the news that Karrion Kross is coming back to WWE, right? It was everywhere. It was all over social media. I did a video on it. And then obviously we started the stream. So I was like, oh, did you hear the news that apparently Karrion Kross is back on, coming back? And then he was on that night show. Now, it never said he was on that night show. The report never said he was. And the video I did, I said he's coming back soon, but I didn't know when because it had never been reported. So, I remember talking about Karrion in the hour before the show he returned on, right? And we did the exact same thing with Braun as well. But they were by mistake. Had I have known that they were coming back on those shows, I wouldn't have spoke about them. But I thought it could have been like a month into the future, like long way. So, and even before we mentioned them, I think we did say like bit of a spoiler. So yeah, we definitely try, but man, that's not something that you can hold me to, though, because it's just hard, isn't it? We're having so many conversations. It's hard to know sometimes what news is out there, what news isn't out there, and can be a bit tricky. But yeah, we definitely try to not spoil stuff that's on the show that's important. If it's a match that hasn't been announced and it's just a bit of a so-so match, then I saw LSW as well said that the money is in the chase, but it doesn't mean the chase should last forever. Very true. There's a lot of people that seemingly feel that way with Roman now that are ready for it to end. So I think it will be all eyes on SummerSlam. SummerSlam definitely feels, and it has felt actually. I rewatched SummerSlam a little bit earlier. I was just doing some work, having a little look at something. And, I love that show, I really love that show. I really enjoy SummerSlam. So last year, they went really big with it. The year before was the one where Becky came back and Brock came back. So and wasn't the main event Roman Cena as well? Like, I remember that being like a big SummerSlam in a big stadium. So 2021 was big. 2022, I mean, tractor. I mean, literally all you have to say is tractor. And obviously the arrival of Damage Control and Bayley returning after being out for 12 months. Longer, actually. I think it's 15. But yeah, they go big with SummerSlams now. Really big. You go back to like 2016, 2017. Like, they were just in an arena. And honestly, they didn't feel all that special. They got built up. It was still SummerSlam, but like, man, I think what they're doing with SummerSlam now is just so much better. And the Rumbles in arenas. There is something like when you are in a stadium, it's got some like magic effect. Like Rumbles in stadiums, SummerSlams in stadiums, obviously WrestleManias. I would say even the Saudi shows feel big because they're in stadiums. It's just something about it, isn't there? When you're in a stadium, it's just something about it. So yeah, SummerSlam's a big show. It always has been. But in recent years, it's sort of, I don't know, lost its way. But now they just go big. And honestly, all eyes on Detroit, because we could be seeing a new undisputed WWE Universal Champion, maybe a couple if we're going to see a cash in as well. Alfie said, "How are you?" I'm good, thanks, bud. I'm excited. Are you about Shinsuke? I'm a little bit late, so I'm sorry if there's anything being repeated. Nah, nothing that we've not really said, to be honest. We haven't really delved, that's the word, delved that much into it. There's rumors about who he's going to go after. I think it makes sense. I think it's a good feud. It's an interesting feud because it's also one that I think both guys need to win. So it's an interesting one, to be honest, because I don't see who's winning the feud. Again, a lot of you will know who that person is. We're not going to talk about it because we are expecting it to be revealed tonight. And as I've said, if it's not, I will quite happily say spoiler, and then I'll tell you after. But I expect it to be revealed tonight. And then also tonight, we've got Nakamura coming back. We've got Liv and Raquel title celebration. We've got Escobar and Damian Priest. And we've also got Xavier Woods, LA Knight. Yeah. Do you remember last week when he trashed that PS5 controller and everyone was upset? People in the chat were like, man, that's expensive and all this kind of stuff. It's like, that was pretty fun, man. So obviously we're going to see a match between those two as a result of that horrific, heartbreaking moment when a gaming controller was destroyed. So Alfie, shout out to you, buds. Theo said, Wrestling Days, I went to Raw this week. I was super disappointed by the live product The first wrestler hangs in a dark ring whilst the commercials play. Cody's promo was too quiet as well. That's interesting. That's interesting. So live, it didn't come across very well. That's interesting. It's always a very different experience when you go and watch it live. I mean, like, I've been to some where they've just been great shows. Crowd have been red hot, and it's been brilliant. But then I've also been to ones where if the show's not that great, and like everyone's kind of sat on their hands, and like everyone's a bit, I don't know. I think it really depends on the crowd. I think the crowd, if you go live, play a massive part. Obviously, the crowds play a massive part on TV as well, but there's no commentary, for example. And so when you sat there, like there's something big that feels like it's missing, like the commentary. And like that kind of does like tie the show together, keeps things nice and tight, and you know, just kind of it's just in the background sometimes. You might not even notice that, you know, you're listening to it, but when it's not there, you definitely miss it. So yeah, I could understand you going and it being a bit underwhelming. I've had those experiences, but a lot of times you can go and it can be awesome, man. It can be great. I've been to some brilliant shows by WWE. Life of Daz says, Bird, what do you think of AEW brand slipping? AEW brand slipping? What do you mean, Bird? In regards to like it struggling a little bit at the moment. Do you know what? I haven't seen the ratings, to be honest. I have not seen the ratings. Let me just quickly have a look at those now. Brian Alvarez. He tends to put them up, doesn't he? Brian Alvarez, where are you? He's getting dragged at the moment, isn't he? Brian Alvarez. Apparently he's getting blamed for something to do with CM Punk. Don't know. I like Brian Alvarez, to be honest. I don't really listen to the shows, but of the little clips that I've seen of him, it's pretty fun. Right, Dynamite, 866,000. I mean, do you know what? There's a couple of ways to look at this. One way could be that AEW is slipping. The other way could be that they have just found their groove. This week's show was all right, but we did say at the start, if you looked at the card, it was trash. Card at the start was just not good. Like, we were going through that card, and it was just Powerhouse Hobbs against Silas Young. I mean, that just screams dark to me. And then, who was it? Brandon Cutler and Nakazawa were in action. Who cares? MJF was going to do a little segment. Cool. It's always great to see MJF, but we do see him on a regular basis. So I don't think anyone's especially going to be tuning in because it's got an MJF segment. You'd be tuning in to see MJF anyway. He's on pretty much every week. It just went down the whole card. The whole card was flat. There wasn't really, compared to the week before, there was like, you know, lots that was advertised. Well, the week before, I think it did 870. This week did 866. What that says is that this is the audience. The audience is about 860. Whatever you put on now, you're going to get about 860. Now, you can't take that for granted. You've still got to put on a good quality product because the number could drop. But what that suggests is that we are very settled at this 860 mark. If we're going to need like Mercedes Moné or something like that to get to 1 million. I think even the big Tony Khan announcement only bumped it to like at the 870 mark. So the Tony Khan announcements aren't really working either at the moment. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's slipping. I think it's plateaued. I think it's been at the 800 and some thousand mark for the majority of 2023. And we've spoke about like maybe they need to change their champion. Maybe MJF just isn't the right person for that position because I think he's one for the future, but so is Jamie Hayter. And I think that if your champions and your major belts and your major stories are going to involve people that maybe haven't reached past the AEW crowd. Like, you know, if you watch AEW, you'll know MJF, you'll know Jamie Hayter. But if you don't watch AEW, you won't really know or care about who these people are. So could you make an argument that really your women's champion should be Paige, should be Saraya, who is, you know, very well known because of she's had a movie made about her family. She obviously was in WWE. She's been kind of known and spoken about for how many years? I mean, like, we're going back to like 2015, I think, like I don't know, well before that, actually. I think we're going back to like 2013. So, like, you know, she's been around for quite a long time in the public eye. Certainly a lot longer than Jamie Hayter. So, you know, is that the right way to go? Do you do that? Do you have Moxley back at top? Do you put the belt on Punk? What about if Paige Saraya was women champ, Punk was men's champ? What would the rating look like then? So I don't know. That's my thought, is that I would be looking at. I mean, there's an argument that you've got to invest in people, you've got to build people. I definitely understand that. But maybe you just can't do like Jamie Hayter and MJF at the same time. You know, maybe if Jon Moxley or CM Punk was the champ, CM Punk in particular, then maybe that would allow you to build Jamie Hayter. Or if you had Paige as the women's champ, you had a big women's story, really big, you know, like when Becky was on top and she was the man, like do that with Paige. Then you might be able to get away with MJF and the ratings might be good. But at the moment, with both of them being homegrown and only being around for a couple of years, I don't know. I mean, it just looks to me like this is the audience, 800 and some thousand. And if you want to get above that, you're going to need to bring in some names. You need CM Punk. You need Mercedes Moné. You're going to need to bring in some names that's going to boost that ratings that people are going to want to tune in to watch. Otherwise, it seems whatever you try is going to be 860, 870, somewhere around that. Monster show a couple of weeks ago for AEW, 870,000. And then this week, 860. Sean, shout out to you. Says, day's good to you. Do you think the draft will include commentary? Yes. I think Kevin Patrick could be better in NXT. Vic Joseph better on the main roster. Completely agree. I agree. I think, though, Kevin Patrick and Booker T as a commentary team would be awful. I mean, Booker T, I don't like him on commentary. Doesn't feel like a natural home for him. I like Booker T. I ain't got nothing against Booker T. But I don't think commentary is his calling. And I like Vic Joseph. I definitely agree he could do a much better job than Kevin Patrick. I would worry about NXT if we had Kevin Patrick and Booker T. But, I mean, who knows? You know, perhaps they would click into a groove and, you know, it might... stranger things have happened. Maybe it would work, but yeah, I don't know. I think, to be honest, I think Kevin Patrick, he was a backstage interviewer, and for some reason they've transitioned him to commentator, and I don't think that's a transition that's worked. And Booker T in NXT, obviously Hall of Famer, amazing wrestler, doesn't mean that he's going to be a great commentator. So I don't think that's worked either. So yeah, I would completely agree. I really like Wade Barrett though. I think Wade Barrett's been an excellent addition to the commentary team. I've always liked Corey Graves. Michael Cole, I think, is great. Put Vic Joseph in that mix. I think you've got something really good. Yeah, I completely agree, Sean. I completely agree. So do I think it'll include commentary? I think so, because we can't be the only ones that are saying, oh man, this isn't quite right, you know? They must know that Kevin Patrick's, it's not working. It's not quite right. But we'll see, won't we? We'll see. We have seen commentators and people move before, yes. Days, are you doing well? I don't know if you've seen a report coming out. WWE would be surprised if Edge went to AEW when his current deal ends. Yeah, I'd be surprised as well. I'd be surprised because they're letting him wrestle right now. And I think they'll continue to let him wrestle until he wants to wrestle. I think Edge is a legend. I think he's someone that WWE are not forcing out the door. I think he can keep wrestling till he wants to. So if his current deal expires and then he goes and wrestles somewhere else, that would be a little bit moody, to be honest. Because if I'm WWE, I'm thinking, hang on, what are you getting from AEW that we weren't giving you? I mean, you could say banging matches, right? Because we know that the matches on Raw and SmackDown in particular, it doesn't really matter so much as to if they're 5 stars, right? That's not really what we're focused on when it comes to Raw and SmackDown matches. We're trying to tell stories, basically. Someone's going to interfere or something's going to happen. Normally there's a screwy finish or whatever. But in AEW, the match quality is a little more important. So outside of that, like what else are you going to get from going to AEW that you don't get in WWE? So I also would be surprised, but yes. WrestleBuzz, shout out to you, said, Days, as opposed to seeing the draft happen on Raw or SmackDown, I would love to see an hour special on the network. Yeah. I agree. The only thing I would say is that in this modern age, as we just spoke about with AEW, you need ratings. And what better way to get ratings than to tune in? The draft is coming. You don't want to miss this. The landscape of WWE is going to be changed. So from a business point of view, you can understand why they're doing it. From a fan point of view, I'd be so down for like a special show. Mix in a few matches. You could even have matches where the winner chooses what brand they go to. And then, rather than just announce Sammy's going to Raw, you could have Sammy wrestle, and when he wins, you can say, I want to go to Raw. So you still get the same result, but you just get there a different way, and you could have a few matches. Matches could be really good. No commercial breaks. Could have a stipulation attached. You get to decide where to go. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, yeah, sign me up, man. I'd be down for that, definitely. But as I said, I think the reason why they don't do it is because they want to make the shows as good as possible. Mitchell, shout out to you, bud, said, not sure if you touched on this, but did you see Night of Champions has been announced? Could they use that to split belts? Maybe KO, Sammy, Roman wrestle twice and lose a belt. Night of Champions has been announced. It's replaced King and Queen of the Ring. Could they use that to split belts? Sure. Sure. But I don't think it's... Yeah. They could, but then they could for any show, really. They could for WrestleMania. They could for SummerSlam. I can't say that, I can't say that the name... It's a name we've used before. I can't say that the name is particularly making me think that's where we're splitting the titles, for example. But we could. I mean, it's a show that focuses on the champions. So, yeah, we could. To be honest, I mean, I don't know what we're doing with the belt split, because I don't think Roman's dropping the belt until he loses. I don't think they're gonna, because if they were gonna split them, I'm sure they would have done it already. Why have him split the titles now and then lose further down the road? Why not just have him lose? Because when he loses now, it needs to be like a big thing, doesn't it? When whoever beats Roman is a made man. I mean, they will always be the person that ended this historic title reign. So you can make the argument, well, you don't need both belts because they're going to be big, whoever they are. So say it's Seth. If Seth beats Roman and Roman just happens to have already dropped one of the belts, it's not going to diminish the achievement. But I just sort of think, I feel like it's got to be close. I feel like SummerSlam, like everyone else. I mean, I thought it was WrestleMania, so now I'm thinking it's SummerSlam. So I'm sort of thinking, well, why not just have Cody win at SummerSlam, win all the titles, and then have Cody come out the next night and say, listen, you deserve a fighting champion. I know that I cannot do 2 belts justice. Roman was never on Raw, and you deserve better. So it's with a heavy heart I'm going to keep this WWE Championship. It's the one that my dad tried to get, and it's the one that means so much to me, and I'm going to relinquish the Universal. I don't want to do it, but you deserve... Like, I feel like that would be kind of a cool, credible way of doing it, because it makes sense as to why we're doing it. He's basically given up that title so that it can be... And then we can have a tournament or do whatever. In regards to... I don't know how you do it with Roman. I mean, do you just put him in 2 matches? Put him in 2 matches and then he loses one. But then if he loses it, then the person that beats him at SummerSlam won't be the person that beats him, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, I'm struggling a bit with it, to be honest. I'm struggling a bit with it. I'm thinking that it'll be Roman keeps the belts unified until he finally loses, which I think will be SummerSlam. And then at that point, that's when I would have Cody come out and say what I just said. So that's what I would do. What WWE are going to do is more than likely different. So we'll have to wait and see. Days, WWE effed up letting Nigel McGuinness go. Him and Graves would have been fire. I agree. I really like Nigel McGuinness. He did a great job for NXT UK. And... as I said, really enjoyed listening to his commentary, and he's such a legend as well. So I completely agree. Life of Daz said, on Google, they might do Raw and SmackDown. On Google, they might do Raw and SmackDown. Don't know what you mean, Buds. What do you mean? On Google, they might do Raw and SmackDown. Meet 4CFC 1992 said, let me talk to you. Yeah. If LA Knight loses, we riot. Hashtag yeah. LA Knight in action tonight. People are fired up. People are pumped up. LA Knight against Xavier Woods coming up tonight. It's good, isn't it? It's good. People really like LA Knight. And we're, about 12 minutes away from the show beginning. So, yeah, people are really into LA Knight. Just him getting even a fleeting appearance last week was enough for people to get super excited. So I am very much looking forward to seeing what we do with him tonight. Hopefully it's more than just a match, a little match against Xavier. I'm hoping that this is going to be the start of a feud. Don't know what that feud would be. I'm guessing him and Xavier, him and New Day, maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe Bray comes back, but I'm kind of giving up hope there. I think it was mentioned in the chat the other week that probably Bray will be back for the draft. And I think that's probably a really good shout, actually. It's probably a good shout. I mean, we're a few weeks away from it. You could have him drafted and have him come out as, as a result and do something. So maybe we have to wait for that. Roberto said, can anyone tell me what happened to AJ Styles? He was injured, I believe, at a house show. Before the injury, he was irrelevant. Someone fill me in because I was lapsed for 3 years, but I got back a few weeks ago. So he was in a tag team with Amos. So basically, they didn't... I think it's Roman, to be honest. So Roman has been on top, and as a result, we've had to find stuff for Kevin Owens, for Seth Rollins, for AJ Styles, for everyone. We've had to find stuff for them to do whilst Roman is the champ. And so that's meant that they have gone off and done little bits and bobs. So AJ, for example, got put into a tag team with Amos. And really, he was used to bring Amos along. Be on the road with him, bring him up to speed. Let's see, he's got the look. He's a monster. Can we now get him in, a really good place wrestling-wise, promo-wise? So they put him with AJ. See if AJ can work some magic. He couldn't. So really what we did is we kind of sacrificed AJ for a bit. I mean, you can see what they were trying to do, but, it was never going to work. It was never going to work. I don't know why they thought it would work, but they had high hopes it would work. It didn't work. And so, Was he irrelevant? I mean, he was definitely pushed to the sides, but he was pushed to the side to do a project, to do a job for us, and that was to bring along Moss, and it didn't work. So then what they did is they went and got the OC. He wanted Gallows and Anderson, so that's something that Triple H sorted. He got Gallows and Anderson. So we were just getting the OC. We were just getting Gallows, Anderson, AJ. We were just starting to do something there, and then he got injured. So that's what happened with AJ. Life of Daz said the AEW slip Raw and SmackDown style shows was spoke of. The AEW slip Raw and SmackDown style shows was spoke of. AEW slip Raw and SmackDown shows were spoke of. I don't know what that means, but I don't know what that means. I'm still trying to work it out. AEW slipped. We spoke about that. Raw and SmackDown style shows were spoke of. Don't know. Life of Daz, put it in. Bring me up to speed. It's not catching with me. Grant said, what really hooked me into wrestling was when Nigel McGuinness banned Adam Cole from ever competing for the Ring of Honor Championship after he shoved Jay Lethal. Grant, shout out to you, man. I hope you're well. Daniel said, reports from PW Insider are that AEW have sold 50,000 pre-sale tickets for All In. Have they? That's a report from where? PW Insider. PW, I have not seen this report. Let's have a look. PW Insider, latest news. Is this PW Insider Elite or whatever? Oh, you have to all sign in or something. Latest news. Haven't they got any free news? You have to sign in. Have they put it on PW Insider? Let's have a little look. PW Insider. Great early sign for. So this was 6 hours ago. Let's see what the free story says. In speaking with multiple sources, PW Insider has learnt that AEW has exceeded 50,000 pre-sale registrations for All In, whilst nothing is guaranteed. If even half of those purchase 2 tickets, that would be 50,000. It's all positive in terms of signs of interest, which looks to easily be the biggest live crowd in AEW history. Fans in the UK can pre-register for Wembley, blah, 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 blah. Yep, checks out. It's all there. It's on the website and on the PW Insider site. Thoughts about it? Well, thoughts about it are that anyone can just go and say, yeah, I want to go. That isn't the same as actually people then spending their money. So as PW just said, even if half actually buy tickets and buy 2, because you're probably not going on your own. You go with your partner or a friend or whatever. So if half do that, buy 2 tickets, that would be the 50,000 people. So that is a good sign. And actually, I don't think tickets are on sale until the 5th of May. So that's another good sign, is that they've got time to reach as many people as possible. Still got a good couple of weeks. So hopefully these people don't change their minds. But yeah, it's a good sign. I mean, I really do not expect that to be a flat crowd or a quiet crowd. I expect it to be a case that, Tony is, you can accuse Tony of lots of things, but one thing he is he's a good businessman. He has to be, because he's in charge of Fulham, he's in charge of Jacksonville Jaguars. He's in countless meetings, countless conversations. He's got a statistics company, which, just give him nothing but data on whatever he wants. And so for him to book Wembley was a massive shock, came out of nowhere for us. but that's because we're not privy to the numbers that he is privy to. We don't see the numbers that he sees. And so the data must have been there to say, we reckon you would do this. We reckon that the AEW audience in Europe is this big. We think that we could get a crowd at Wembley, like if we promote it and go like, you know, big and stack the card, blah, blah, blah. We reckon we could get this number. Now, I don't think that number's 90,000, but I don't think that number needs to be 90,000 because, as was pointed out, if you put a big stage in there, you could even like close off like a good chunk of the stadium, put a big stage in. That'll take the capacity down to, I don't know, 70,000 maybe, something along those lines. And then even if you sell the 50, right, that gives you 20,000 tickets, which honestly, you just comp, don't you? You're just going to comp it. Friends, family, radio giveaways, like competitions on Twitter, like whatever, win a couple of tickets to All In. And like, you know, you just basically give them away, basically sell them. Obviously you might sell some on the door as well, but by and large, yeah, I reckon, yeah. I mean, I must admit the number of pre-sales, that's higher than I expected. I didn't expect 50,000 pre-sales. Didn't expect that. So that's higher than I thought. But I never thought that they would, I never thought it was going to be like 10,000 and 90,000 empty seats. I never thought that because I just don't think he would have booked the stadium. I don't think he would have made that mistake. I know a lot of people think he would and that he's an idiot and all that kind of stuff, but we're talking money here, business. We're talking numbers. We're talking serious stuff. You don't just drop money on a stadium to rent a stadium and then have like embarrass yourself. So there must have been something that said to him, yeah, we can do this, or we can get close, or we can do a certain number, you know. Interesting. That's good. I didn't know that. Kappa said, happy Friday days. Hopefully we see Lacey Evans. Absolutely. Yeah, I want her to go to Raw, and I want Lacey Evans to feud with Bianca, because I think if you build Lacey and keep doing what we were doing with Lacey, I think we could get somewhere, you know. I think we could get somewhere, and that might not be popular thing to say, but I think that we've just stopped and started with her too many times. And I think the idea of a gimmick working for Lacey now just seems impossible, because we've seen so many stop and start. But I can't see why her being an army marine type person that doesn't feel appreciated, that is here to get respect. You know, if you're not going to give me respect, I'm going to take respect. And like the camel clutch, which obviously got great callbacks to Sergeant Slaughter. And I kind of am into that. I think we could do some fun promos. I think we could do some fun vignettes. I think we could do some fun kind of ceremonies and all this kind of stuff with Lacey Evans. I would give her a little army. I'd have her as the leader of a little faction and give her a couple of recruits and like really whatever we need to do to lean into it. And like, yeah, really go all in. So I like it. I hope that we commit to it. I hope that we see her going up against Bianca. And honestly, maybe even she beats Bianca. She's going to need something to make her legit. And maybe if she had a clean win over Bianca, that would be the, oh my God, kind of moment that she needs. So, I don't know, we'll have to have a look. Days, what about Logan winning Money in the Bank? No. That would be horrific. And one of the worst things that I will ever have seen in WWE, which definitely means they're going to do it now. I mean, now you've said it, it just makes sense, doesn't it? Because he can win it at a pay-per-view and not be seen until the next pay-per-view, which is basically what he does. and he can win the title without really like having to do much because you just cash in at an opportune moment. They can get all the buzz and fallout, all the reaction on social media. You can have Logan gloating about how he's the best, all this kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, I mean, it just makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. But it's one of the most offensive things I've ever heard in my life. And actually, I hate you a little bit for bringing it up because now I'm convinced they're going to do that. Shame on you. Here's Kevin. Here is Kevin. It's on his own. Or is it just going to be a case that... is Sammy going to... Sammy came back, didn't he, on Monday? Yeah. Here's Sammy. Here's Sammy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's go! Ba-bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-da-bum-bum-bum-bum. They've done a great job of pouring cold water all over Sammy. The reactions just don't hit the same anymore. People are still playing. There's still nice cheers and everything, but... Right, where's this story going to go next? So we saw Solo beating up Kevin. Let's go. Let's go. Logan shouldn't win anything ever, said Christopher. I agree with that. He shouldn't win anything, not a single flipping match. Not unless he's going to sign, unless that contract is a full-time contract and he's going to do like all the shows and everything. Then I'll entertain the idea of him winning a match. But and if his contract's like a little part-time thing where he's going to rock up for WrestleMania and SummerSlam, forget about it. Forget it. Hey, forget about it. Hey, look, Kevin Owens has got bright yellow shoes on. Don't expect that from Kevin. Don't expect that from Kevin. Kevin's changing, man. He's got bright yellow shoes on. Like Kill Bill. Like the bride. We've got another barefoot Tarzan. Hello, Dagmari. Hope you're well, buds. Daniel, shout out to you. Philip said, do you think whenever Bray returns, he will continue the story or perhaps start a new story? Well, listen, we've got a few Sammy chants. It's only been 2 weeks since one of the most historic nights of all time. Right, Kenny Hodge, shout out to you. What was that? What was that Bray Wyatt question? Do you think whenever Bray returns, he will continue the story or start a new story? We could go either way, couldn't we? He could easily come back and just pick up and go after Bobby, or he could just come back and, you know, start afresh. So could be either. Okay, Sammy said they've not had time to process or to think about anything with everything that's going on with the bloodline. Who's for the bloodline? It's a time for uncertainty, says Sammy. Two things that he knows for a fact, Kevin. So Kevin says, wherever we end up, we know that we are the undisputed tag team champs. So, uncertainty. So, they're talking about the Usos coming for a rematch. Oh, they've come out now. Ooh. Day one-ish, down since. Day one-ish, down since. Days, I hate all the Roman hate, says Maggie. I get so bored of it. I am sending my tribal chief lots of hugs and kisses. He appreciates that. Here's the Usos. Champion Lacey with an army is brilliant, says Kappa. Kappa, shout out to you, my friends. You two have been champs for 2 weeks. We were champs for 2 years. What do you know about pressure? You have to report back every week to your daddy Roman Reigns, empty-handed. Yeah, Mr. Yellow Shoes! Yeah! Mr. Yellow Shoes! It is very noticeable. Daddy, go back to you, Daddy. So we're building to rematch. Don't know when. Bloodline got numbers. Days, we're running away soon to an island of nakedness. Don't tell anyone, says Maggie. What? Who? We are. I got a stream. You're going to fold under pressure, said Jay. Vishal. Shout out to you, buds. Sami Zayn is going to backstab you, Kevin, just like he backstabbed my whole damn family. I wish I was as good. I wish I was as good as anything as Jey Uso is at lying to himself. You want to act like Solo wasn't ready to drop you last week? I don't think you came out here to talk, did you? Okay, microphones are being chucked down. Cody? They're outnumbered. Cody. Big cheer. Oh, Riddle. Okay, so Riddle, even up the numbers. Ding, ding, ding. Right, Vishal said, Days, hope you're well. Do you think Regal could beat Raw or SmackDown GM after the draft? And what would you do with Roman Cody's Zayn bloodline story? So we got Solo. Went for the Samoan spike. Knee strike there by Riddle. And again, down goes Solo. In regards to William Regal, he wanted out of his contract, didn't he, with AEW? And Tony granted it, but there's some sort of stipulation where he's not allowed on TV, and I don't know how long that's for. He would be a fantastic GM. I mean, that would be a no-brainer, but I don't think it's going to happen because I don't know how long that stipulation is that he's not allowed to be on TV. Some of you watching might be able to answer that for me. So Riddle comes down and makes the save there, evens up the numbers. Usos get chased away 3-on-3. This feels like it's building towards a 6-person tag match. What would you do with Roman, Cody, Sammy, Bloodline? I'd separate them. I'd get them away from each other now. I think we do a 6-person tag at Backlash. I think we do a rematch which Kevin and Sammy win, and I would get Kevin and Sammy away. I think in my draft video I said I would move Kevin and Sammy over to Raw and get them away from the Bloodline, because whilst they're not going to be able to be on the same show without bumping into each other, there's not going to be a way of moving on. I sort of feel like you need to just get them onto different shows now. But you've got no point doing it just yet, because clearly, we need to finish this story. Unfortunately for Sammy, this story is not going to end with him beating Roman. And so, what's the point? What are we doing? I think we in the draft move him over to Raw. I think in regards to Roman, I think we'll lose the belt to Cody at SummerSlam. That's my guess. But I really thought that was going to happen at WrestleMania. But I think there's a chance that he loses it at SummerSlam. I think Roman will... the Bloodline, I think we could see... I mean, they've been putting a lot of little teases that the Usos are faces. And right now, they're still choosing to be heels. But, you've got Sammy saying, I wish I was as good at, anything as Jay is at lying to himself. When are you going to realize, you've still got Sammy saying stuff like that. When are you going to realize, that Solo was going to drop you last week? When are you going to wake up? And at some point, I think he will. At some point, I think Jay will fight back. And I think the Usos will fight back. And I think that we will see them rebel against Roman, rebel against the Bloodline. Now, I don't think that's coming until maybe closer to SummerSlam. I don't think that's coming anytime soon. I think that we're going to build towards them rebelling and Roman losing the titles and then Roman leaving. And that'll all build into a beautiful crescendo. We don't need Sammy on SmackDown for that, because the seeds have been planted already in Jay. We know that Jay really struggled after the Royal Rumble to decide what to do. He picked a side. Even then, he seemed to struggle. Even when he picked a side, he didn't know whether he was really in the Bloodline or not. And then you've got Solo giving him dirty looks. The seeds have been planted. I feel like the fuse has been lit, and it's making its way to the bomb, and the bomb is going to go off, and it's going to go off closer to SummerSlam, I think, when I think Roman loses the titles as well, and it's just a big, beautiful mess, big, massive explosion of Roman losing the belts, Bloodline splitting up, full-on drama. So, yeah, that's what I think they're doing, and it's the way that I would go as well now. It's not the way I would have gone originally, but it's, where we are now. What would we do now? This is what I would do now. I would love to see Sammy get back to, going for a title in the future, though. I really would. I'm still really into the idea of him being built up and getting that moment. The WrestleMania thing, as people know, just didn't scratch that itch for me. I still feel unsatisfied when it comes to, Sammy and him getting... I like the fact he main evented WrestleMania. That's really cool. But, yeah, I want to see him get right back up there. And I just don't think there's a plan for him to do that on SmackDown. So let's move him to Raw, focus on the tag belts, and take it from there. So, Vishal, shout out to you, but I hope that's some kind of answer. We are coming back to SmackDown. We was at commercial break, by the way. Matt said, "Holy moly days! Prices at what was once the Chivington Gravy Museum. Always love hearing about the Chivington Gravy Museum. Have gone up 300% under Vince's watch. And now customers aren't allowed to maintain direct eye contact with employees. Hashtag save the CGM. Can't believe it, Matt. I can't believe the carnage that's breaking out at the Chivington Gravy Museum. We'll come back to that. I've got big thoughts. Okay, we're backstage with Adam Pearce. Okay, Adam Pearce talking to a ref. So Riddle and Solo tonight. Is Xavier. So we're seeing them use social media. I haven't seen this. So we're seeing some promos being cut on social media. This is pretty fun. Whose game is it? LA Knight's game. That's just a fact of life. Yeah. Xavier Woods against LA Knight. Coming up next. Yeah, so 300% entrance fees. I mean, I think that must put it up to about, I mean, I remember when I used to go, it was only about 20p to get into the Chivington Gravy Museum. If they've gone up 300%, that means we're at what, 60 odd p now? About 60p to get into the Chivington Gravy Museum. That's mental, man. That's mental. Because you could spend pounds and pounds and pounds just buying little sample pots of different gravy from the Chivington Gravy Museum gift shop. I had a friend that worked there, actually. And I probably shouldn't say this, but apparently each morning when he used to go in, he used to get his finger, put it in his mouth, and stick it into the like gravy things like that. So not loads, but just once, just so like, you know. And then that way, if a customer came in and was really off, he would send them to that vat. He would make sure that no one else used it, right? I don't know. Like, people might have helped themselves from it anyway. You know what the Chivington's like. But apparently, if there was anyone a bit off, he'd send them to that vat, and it's the one that he'll. You know what kids are like. I don't condone it. It's not Kofi, is it? It's Xavier. I got Kofi on the brain. Yeah. Wish me luck. Okay, LA Knight making his way down to the ring. Ring, ding, ding. Remember Brock, Dean Ambrose winning and successful cashing on Seth back in 2016, 2019. Kian, shout out to you. Someone say about a Bray Wyatt logo. I didn't see a Bray Wyatt logo. Okay, LA Knight in the ring getting a great reaction. Harry said, "What's the dream match for Roman and his titles?" Don't know, but what's your dream match? I don't really have. Well, I mean, I love Sammy. I love what Sammy did in the Bloodline. I love the Usi moment. I love the T-shirt moment. I love the trial of Sammy. I love him sitting down. Do you remember that segment where he was backstage with Roman, and Roman was like, "Listen, I need your help. I need you to occupy Drew." It was around Clash at the Castle, and Sammy was like, I can do that. I am the master strategist. I get in people's heads. I get in there. I put a mat down. I do a little dance." And like Jay was cracking up in the background. Roman was like, "That's the dance you do." He was like, "Yeah, do a little dance like this." Those little moments, just them little things just dotted throughout the year. But just there, that's the gold, man. Those moments where you just genuinely laugh. And they're like really genuinely entertaining. And like, I don't know, they're special. They're special moments because you get a lot of scripted promos, a lot of like stuff where it's just, I'm going to beat you. I'm doing it for my family, blah, 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 whatever it might be. But those like little more, dare I say, personal moments, backstage in a locker room where cameras are on, but they're not acting like the cameras are on. They're like, we're watching a conversation in between themselves. Man, I just love all of that. All of that was so good. And I just love Sammy. So my dream would be for Sammy to do it. But it's not going to happen. I've accepted it. I've moved on, guys. I am... I'm fine with Cody doing it. I think I'd love Cody to win. I'd love Cody to finish his story as well. So totally fine with Cody doing it at SummerSlam. I've no qualms with that. But I do like the idea of Seth cashing in immediately. I do like that. But now Wrestle with Andy's got me worried it'll be Logan that's going to win, and Logan will cash in. Xavier gets thrown into a ring post by LA Knight as we go to commercial break. Days, with all the rumors we heard, do you actually think there will be Gunther Brock at SummerSlam? Don't know. I hope not. Because who wins that match? I mean, for me, it's got to be Gunther that wins. But I can't see Brock beating Cody. And so is Brock going to have another year of taking L's? I mean, Brock's got to the point of his career now where he's just taking L's. Him beating a Moss. Good. Yeah, fine. Like, he gets the win there. And at WrestleMania gives him a bit of boost, whatever. That now he goes into a feud with Cody. Well, he ain't beating Cody. So Cody's winning that. And so then, it's going to be quite a quick turnaround for him to come back and go after Gunther. Now, listen, the build will be great, and the match will be great, but Brock's got to lose. He's got to lose. And I would just be a little bit worried that he won't. But I suppose, and plus also, right now, that would be heel versus heel. That's another problem, is Gunther's a heel. And we're not trying to turn Gunther face. I don't think we want Gunther to be face. I think we want Gunther to be a heel. Because I think that when Cody gets the belt, or Seth gets the belt, or whatever babyface gets the belt, we're going to need heels to go up against them. And I think that's what we're building Gunther for. So we're not looking to make Gunther a face. And I don't think you can make Brock a face after you've literally just turned him heel against Cody. Like, to bring him back and now he's cowboy again, he's face again. I mean, I suppose you could do it, but like, oh man. I flipping hate these face heel turns that happen all the time. He's literally just turned. So I wouldn't do it. I think it's a match that we should get, but there's too much at the moment that makes me think now isn't the right time for it. I like the idea of doing it when, say, Gunther's champion, And then, like, here's Brock, and it's like, oh my God. I mean, I understand people will be like, yeah, do it now, do it then as well. You can do it like quite a few times. Like, you don't have to just do it once. I understand that. But as I said, I just think there's probably a few too many things at the moment that just make me think now doesn't feel like the right time. Like heel against heel. Or like turning Gunther, I wouldn't do. Turning Brock, I wouldn't do. Not because we've just done it. Brock is going to lose to Cody. And so he's got to lose to Gunther. And I don't want Gunther losing. Gunther losing at SummerSlam doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So, no, thank you. Plus, also, I don't know how long Gunther's got to be Intercontinental Champion to beat Honky Tonk Man's record, He's got that needs to be broken because that's easy to break. He's already at nearly 300 days. I think the record's 480. So he's got to go 180 days. 180 days without losing. And I know people could say, well, just do it with the belt not on the line. And then if he loses, it doesn't matter. But it sort of does, doesn't it? sort of does matter. It won't affect his title reign, but like... and plus also, why would Brock go for the Intercontinental? That's another question that would have to be answered. So, yeah, it's not... Now just doesn't feel quite right for me. But we might get it. Godfather's Hope said, I am ready for a huge LA Knight push tonight. Speaking of pushing, where's Trish? I would like to make some clappy ham loaf. Oh, okay. Clappy ham loaf. I've not heard that before. I think that's what Maggie wants to do with Roman, actually. Oh, I have heard it before. In my head, I was like, that does ring a bell. Chivington Gravy Museum. That's where I've heard it before. They have loads of it there. And you can put gravy all over it. Yeah, honestly, I would go as far as to say the nicest clappy ham loaf I have ever tried was at the Chivington Gravy Museum. And it's part of the tour. You put gravy all over it, man. Kids, elderly people, everyone does it. It's brilliant. It's a big part of the tour. Amazing. Halftime scores at the top of the hour. Halftime scores in, if we did them now, it'd be quarter time scores. Xavier has got LA Knight on his shoulders. Against the ropes goes Xavier. Back elbow by Xavier. If you are joining us, this is Xavier Woods against LA Knight. Yeah! I'd like to see Gunther Lesnar clash at War Games or Survivor Series leading up to a feud next year, said Jason. Bryson said, what if Cody wins Money in the Bank, then cashes in on Roman? I wouldn't do that personally because we have spoke about this before. I think if Cody is going to win a title for his family, the Rhodes family, and he's going to be the first to do it, he's going to finish the story. I feel like it has to be done in the right way, that dramatic way, that digging deep, getting the 3 count. Is he going to do it? Oh, he's so close. That kind of a thing, The idea of him running down and cashing in like an opportune moment, I don't know that kind of fits the narrative that I'm looking for. I sort of feel like, he could come running down, cash in, just to get that first title, just to get that first belt. But that's not how I picture a member of the Rhodes family finally doing it, It's such a mountain to climb to become the WWE champion. It's something that not everyone gets to be. It's such a mountain. Dusty couldn't achieve it. Goldust couldn't achieve it. Stardust couldn't achieve it. Cody's gone away, reinvented himself, come back. He's on the verge of achieving it. I don't think now I want to see him take like a shortcut, LA Knight grabs a hold of the rope there. Tell you what, crowd are really into this. Great action. So we saw a springboard leg drop. Was it a leg drop? No, it was a missile drop kick, actually, by Xavier. There's the leg drop. And goes for the cover. LA Knight grabs the rope. So grabs the rope. And the crowd really vocal. Xavier kicking LA. LA scooping up, slamming down Xavier. LA Knight against the ropes. Elbow. Kick to the midsection. Goes for a clothesline. Round the back goes Xavier. Breaks out of it. Nice work there by LA against the ropes. Rolling him up. He's grabbed the tights. Handful of tights. Oh, see a bit too much of Xavier Woods there. Little bit too much of Xavier Woods. Woods rolling up. And Woods uses the tights. So Xavier tries to cheat. So LA tries to cheat, fails. Xavier cheats and succeeds. Tell you what. I saw more of Xavier Woods there than I wanted to, let me tell you. Shaquem, shout out to you, buds. Bryson said, I meant cash in early for a future title match. Yeah, that's better. I can vibe with that. I can vibe with that. We've seen that, and we haven't seen that in a little while, actually. But I don't mind that at all, yeah. Cody wins and then calls his shot. Maybe that's how we get... The only problem with that is that it sort of feels a little bit like we are sacrificing Money in the Bank. Because I sort of feel like we can get Cody Roman at WrestleMania SummerSlam without Money in the Bank. I don't think we need it. I think we can we can find a way of getting there without Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank, I think people really enjoy that moment where the person races down and then cashes in, and it's like, oh my God. I mean, like Theory having it last year, I mean, it did make sense. You know, he's the future. He's someone that it's going to take a long time to get to the title picture. It's going to take him a while to get up to the main event scene. So, you know, you fast track him. You put him in a spot. Same with Liv. You know, it's really hard. It's a really good little booking thing, actually. You know, Liv, for example, it's really hard. People like Liv, but it's hard to get her into title matches because you've got Charlotte, Becky, Bianca, Ronda. You know, you did have Sasha, Bayley. You've got all these women that are always just going to be around the title picture. It's really hard to get Liv up there. Like, how do we get her into the mix, you know? And you could say the same with the likes of Doudrop, Candice LeRae, blah, 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 right? It's really hard to get them up there. This is where Money in the Bank is just great because you can put the Money in the Bank on someone like that, like Liv, like Doudrop, like Austin Theory, like whoever, right? Karrion Kross, someone that's not around that main event picture. And because they've got it, you just know, like, they all of a sudden, you need to keep an eye on them. This person's important. Like, they could cash this in at any time. And so all of a sudden, you know, Doudrop with that briefcase could be kind of interesting. Or Piper Niven as she is now. It could be interesting because she's not someone that can get to that main event kind of picture. And just having that briefcase, you all of a sudden, you have to listen to her now. You've got to listen to her because when she talks and she says that she's going to be the next women's champion, there's a chance that she's telling the truth. Same with Lacey. You know, that could be a great way to get heel Lacey, get her the belt, where she comes down and cashes in maybe. So I don't mind if Cody wins it and then announces in advance, I'd be more into that than him running down and like taking a shortcut, if you will. Because I don't think Cody needs to take the shortcut. I think he's so close to just achieving it anyway that I don't think he needs that shortcut. But equally, I don't mind someone else. As long as it's not Logan Paul. I don't want Logan Paul. Because it makes total sense for Logan Paul to win that Money in the Bank. That makes arguably more sense than anyone else. Because he is someone that only rocks up at the big shows. So if he's got Money in the Bank, he doesn't need to do anything to earn a title match. He's always got the title match in his pocket. He can go all over social media with the briefcase, advertising WWE, right? Building up the fact that teasing. Think about this. Logan with the briefcase teasing that he's going to cash in. Guys, I'm cashing in this Saturday. This Saturday is Night of Champions. I'm going to cash in. So people tune in because he said, and he doesn't. Of course he doesn't, right? He's not even there. But like, yeah, well, I thought of doing it, but I overslept. Or whatever, right? So you've got one of the biggest social media stars telling you, tune in, I'm going to cash in. And then doesn't. But he doesn't care because he's a heel. Eventually he does cash in, and I don't know what happens at that moment. I am having heart palpitations that they might put the belt on him. It'd be very easy to say I'd be done with WWE if that happened. It'd be very easy to say that. I don't want to live in that world. And I hope he's still around. I hate Wrestle with Andy now for bringing that up. I want it well known. I want it documented. Because I wasn't even thinking about that as an option. And there he is. Look. You can show your face in the chat after coming up with such an idea. What if WWE hadn't thought about it and now they do it? Right, here's Xavier. Xavier is backstage with Gunther. Imperium is trying to work. My bad. Please continue. Gunther. You want my attention? You should approach me in a respectful manner. But you're a goof. You don't know what respect is. I don't like you. Now we're talking. Xavier said he's never had a shot to win the Intercontinental title. Xavier said he's beyond ready. So IC title match teased between Xavier and Gunther. Draft starts in 2 weeks. Draft in 2 weeks. They're just showing us about how Riddle was attacked. Days, some of us had a theory a while back that the Bloodline story has been about Jay's redemption and that he would be the one to beat Roman, says Chris. Seen that doing the rounds, yeah. Felix said, did you see Man United choke? Could they still win? I didn't see it. Well, I saw it happen, but I didn't watch the match. And can they still win? Absolutely. Horrible injuries, though. But listen, got to dig deep, ain't you? Sammy is thanking Riddle. Solo is dangerous. I was a part of it back then. And I feel horrible about it. Just be careful. Go out there with everything you have. Screw being careful. Usinus gets mentioned. Riddle trying to fire back with a promo there. I'm not sure it was landing for me. Little mention of Usinus. I don't trust Sammy, said Lister Jericho. Aww. What are we doing with him now? Why can't we just make him like the face of the company? And everyone live happily ever after. Here's Judgment Day. Here's Damian and Rhea and Dominic. They did say hospital. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, but it was Riddle that said hospital, wasn't it? Oh, I don't think he knows. They could have told him, say medical facility. I think there's a great chance he would have forgotten that 2 seconds after they said it to him. Remember, medical facility. Hospital. No. Oh my god, no. Medical facility. Gonna send me to the hospital. No, Riddle. Riddle. You're not listening. Medical facility. Hospital. Come on, Riddle. I mean, I should imagine that's what it's like working with him. Right, here's Judgment Day. Mr. Super Chat. Oh, I'm very good at doing that. It's my specialist subject if I was to go into that. Christopher, shout out to you, buds. Put it, don't super chat it, but just put what you put, because it's, if you don't get to it within like a minute, it's gone. Right, Judgment Day making their way down. Damian Priest, I believe, going to be in action. 44 minutes gone so far. It's all right. It's an all right show. Damian Priest versus Escobar. It said, would you like LA Knight better as a face or a heel? Oh, heel, definitely. Listen, LA Knight is someone that you build him up as a heel and you have him as a heel for a long time, and then eventually he'll turn and people will flipping love him because they'll love him as a heel. But it's one of those, and it's kind of like, as a heel, he can let rip and he can be cool and he can say what he wants and he can build up heel heat and he can make people like sort of laugh like with the stuff he's saying, you know, laying into local people and laying into local sports teams and whatever, you know, the cheap way you get heat. And people will be like going along with it, like, you know, boo, whatever. But inside, they'll want to cheer him, and inside, they'll want him to like turn face. And eventually, you do it, and because people want it and have wanted it for so long, and he finally hammers, that'd be a big moment, man. So yeah, I wouldn't turn him face now. I reckon that you can turn him face and get a much bigger moment out of it. So I'd run with him being a heel. We haven't seen much of him. He's had one feud with Bray Wyatt, hasn't he? One feud with Bray Wyatt. And then couldn't get on WrestleMania. So I would keep putting him in feuds. keep cutting killer promos, keep having some fun, and then a couple of years down the roads, maybe even a bit longer than that, finally turning face after people have clamored for it for a while, and boom. LA Knight needs to be the anti-hero. Days, what about Ilya Dragunov versus Gunther? Yeah, that'd be good. I mean, they were killer matches. Killer matches. He could even be the person that finally beats Gunther, but the only problem is, I feel like we're not going to see Ilya coming up until at least after WrestleMania next year, at the earliest. And that might be a little bit too long to wait. We're just seeing a couple of weeks ago, Bad Bunny getting destroyed. Christopher, am better than you, MJF Wilson, said, I'm enjoying this show better than Raw Monday night. It's all right. It's all right. Oh, LWO. LWO. Have we seen graphics before? Is Zelina, they're still coming out with the Legado music. She's got her mask again. Yeah, I mean, they've changed it. I mean, it seems like their graphics are LWO. LWO strikes first. Yeah, I mean, Legado's dead, isn't it? It's done. Latino World Order. So Zelina Vega comes out to distract Rhea. And whilst Rhea was heading towards Zelina, there's an attack from behind by the LWO. So LWO attack Judgment Day. LWO graphic. Legato. It's Michael Cole that said hospital. Oh, was it? Oh, I didn't hear Michael Cole say hospital. But then I have to have the sound turned down. That's interesting. I think if you tell Michael Cole something, then he... I think that... I wonder if they're having some fun with it. I wonder if they are doing it on purpose, like they've dropped in some very noticeable medical facilities, and now they've dropped in a hospital just to get people talking. Bray Wyatt retired. We haven't seen him in months, said Moolah. Kevin Patrick is the GOAT, said Caden. Yeah, I just put in Cole Hospital on Twitter and everyone's like, Cole said hospital! Okay. Where is Bray? Don't know. Do you know what FC Cincinnati is? They are currently the best soccer team in America. I've never heard of them, but the FC normally stands for football club. So I think I could have worked that out. Meet for CFC 1992 said, what if LWO is a soft T test for a future NWO reboot? That would be fun. I'd be definitely down for seeing them give that a go. I don't know that it would work, but because you'd always be compared to the original, and that's a high bar. But down for giving it a go. Why not? Big Time said, did you see Meltzer report that there's been 45,000 signups just 6 days ago? He said 25,000. Not sure if it's inflated, but it's interesting. We spoke about it earlier. Apparently, it's at 50,000 PW Insider have reported, which I can believe. I can believe because 50,000 people saying they would be interested in going and, registering an interest, whatever. That's one thing, but it won't be that. I mean, that doesn't translate to that amount of people then buying tickets. So, it could turn out to be a quarter of that actually buy a ticket. But PW Insider said even if only half buy tickets, but they buy 2, that would get them to the 50,000 mark. So, yeah, good. Right, we're underway with Damian Priest against Escobar. Axel said EO to beat Bianca at Backlash. Bailey turns on Damage Control. Dakota wins Money in the Bank and cashes in on EO in her match against Bailey. That'd be fun. I'll be down for that, Axel. Damian Priest with a big shot to Escobar as he was mid-flight. Yeah, I'll be down for that. The only thing is, so what, Bailey would be face. Guessing, would Dakota be heel? So would that be heel Dakota cashing in on heel EO? Doesn't give EO much of a run at the top unless Dakota cashes in like next year. I think I'd be. I don't know how I'd do it actually. Don't know how I'd do it. If EO's going to win the title, I wouldn't have it just be short. I'd get her over and let her give us some matches. Let her show what she can do. But the idea of EO beating Bianca, I'm definitely down for. The idea of Dakota winning the Money in the Bank, definitely down for. The idea of EO against Bailey, definitely down for. I like a lot of that. Have you heard the news? WWE are bringing back Night of Champions on Saturday. They changed it from King and Queen of the Ring. Yeah, we spoke about it. Who's a better commentator, Regal or Barrett? I would say Barrett's a better commentator, but Regal might be the better GM. Knee strike there by Escobar. Mitchell, shout out to you, says, honest opinion, go for it. Go for it. Love honest opinions. Otherwise, what are we here for? Honest opinion, I hate that I'm at the fact. I'm judging each segment, whether it's Vince or Triple H. I really hope they're not booking against each other or cancelling each other out. Kick by Damian Priest. Honest opinion, I don't watch wrestling that way. I don't think any of this is Vince. I think what has happened is Vince has said, like, do this, tweak this. I'm going to leave the show to you. I'm not going to get in the weeds. Like, I don't think you need to watch a match and go, is this Vince or is this Triple H? Or listen to a promo and go, is that Vince or is that Triple H? Like, I just think it's all Triple H. But I think that there are directives, big picture things that Vince has said. I definitely, could see Vince saying it's not hospital, it's medical facility, right? So Michael Cole saying that tonight, hospital tonight, it's interesting. I could definitely see Vince saying it's not a belt, it's championship, right? I could definitely see that. I could definitely see Vince saying, I don't want Damage Control around anymore, or something along those lines, or I want to see Cody get the belt at SummerSlam, or, like some big picture. But actually, like, the little segments on the show, I don't think he's involved. I would imagine they talk. I'd imagine that Triple H runs the plans through. I'd imagine that Vince has a say, but I don't think he's back there with the headset on. I don't think that he is making last minute changes like he was before. I think what we're doing is we're finding a long-term working relationship. I think it's going to be hard for Vince to accept that Triple H is now the guy that's doing it, but it's for the better in the long run, isn't it? I mean, Vince has got to recognize that he's old, and even though I think physically he might know he just can't do the same stuff that he used to be able to. He probably has accepted that, you know, he's not got the same energy that he had when he was younger. He's still a beast. I've got no doubt whatsoever. He's still killing it and going to the gym at 3 a.m, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I think that there could be an acceptance that it's, time waits for no one. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't watch each segment thinking, is this Vince? Is this Triple H? I'm quite satisfied that Triple H is in charge. But Vince certainly has a say. I think what Vince said is the truth. You know, he will still be involved in creative, yes and no. Will you be involved in creative, yes and no? I will, but I just won't be in the weeds. I won't be able to do that anymore. I won't be at the shows. I won't be able to make those last minute changes. I won't be able to, decide the kind of what you see on TV. But like the big sweeping stuff. Definitely think can definitely see him being having a say on that. Timothy said, love the reboot of the LWO in memory of Eddie Guerrero. Timothy, shout out to you, dudes. Yeah, it's good. I think it's better than Legado del Fantasma. I didn't hate the name, but it wasn't a name that did anything for me. This is a lot more exciting. Although, saying that, on his knee pads, it still says LDF, I think, for Escobar. I just caught his knee pads, and it doesn't say LWO. It says it on the t-shirt. So, I don't know. They haven't referred to them as Legado del Fantasma, but his knee pads certainly say it. Interesting. Do you know Grimm and his brother? Are you going to see Women's World Cup and UFC? Well, I know of Grimm and his brother. I don't know them. But I like them. I like them a lot. So I hope everything's going well for Grimm and do hop. I was going to say Dewdrop. In regard, he must have done something fun with that. Do hop. But yeah, in regards to big shows, I mean, it's just difficult in it. As much as I'd love to say, yeah, we're doing all the UFC stuff and all that kind of stuff. Really don't know because we got Backlash coming up. We've got Night of Champions coming up. We got big boxing stuff coming up. I mean, I think it's like Jake Paul's on the same night as SummerSlam. So it's like, can't do them both. So we're doing SummerSlam. So sadly, we won't be able to do the Jake Paul fight, which I'm really disappointed about. Well, I think we've watched all of his fights before. So this will be the first one that we miss. So, I can't sit and say, yeah, we're definitely doing all this and doing all that kind of thing. What if CMLL, AAA, AEW, New Japan, TNA, and Ring of Honor got together to take down WWE? They would fail. Their star power would not be enough. Because who are you going to be able to bring into North America from AAA? I mean, we've seen Ring of Honor stars are basically AEW stars anyway. If you bring Impact in, I mean, Impact gets what, 300,000 views or whatever. So you know, even if all 300,000 people were different to the 850,000 that watch AEW, that'll take you to what, 1.1 million, and then add an extra 100,000 because of intrigue. 1.2, add an extra 100,000 just for the hell of it. 1.3. We're still below the 1.8 of Raw. You know, we're still 500,000 below Raw. And AAA ain't going to bring anything, are they? AAA ain't bringing anything. CMLL ain't bringing anything. Damian Priest with Legado del Fantasma, or LWO, or whatever they're called. Latino del Fantasma. Legado World Order. Santos grabbing Damian Priest, throwing him into the ring. Escobar having his leg grabbed by Rhea Ripley. Crowd booing, as is Zelina. She gets picked up. Lovely. Into the barricade goes Rhea Ripley. Santos charging over. Big kick by Damian Priest. Grabs a hold of Santos. Picks him up. Big choke slam. And Damian Priest picks up the win. Damian Priest picks up the win. It was carnage. Pit bodies being thrown everywhere. So Damian Priest stripping the commentary table. So Damian Priest stripping the commentary table. And here's Rey Mysterio coming down to make the save. Well, no, I don't know where he is. He's going to come through the crowds. There he is. Rey Mysterio. Dominic in the ring. Rey steps into the ring with Dominic. Oh, they're going at it, man. They're going at it. Rey throwing shots to Dominic, ducking underneath. Dominic set up for the 619. Rey goes against the ropes, and Damian makes the save. What? So it's still weird seeing Rey and Dominic throw hands. LWO regroup. I like this group. I like LWO. And Rey coming down, like, he's the little firecracker they need. I tell you what, that's making me think. It's really showing that you could do something with Dragon Lee on this main roster. It's definitely something you can do with Dragon Lee here. My worry was, you know, you look at Sin Cara, you look at Kalisto, you look at all these luchas that we've had in the past. They always struggle, but you put them in a faction like this. You know, you switch Rey for Dragon Lee, that still works. When they embarrass you, they embarrass Seeker. They embarrass Yokozuna. Paul Heyman going off at Solo. Look how calm Solo is, man. Solo telling Heyman to stop. Tell the tribal chief. I got this. Damn, serious, man. Serious. Tell the tribal chief I got this. Woo! Yeah. That was good. That was really good. La 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 la. Shinsuke. Did Paul channel his inner Reverend Devon? Here's Liv. Oh yeah, this is the title celebration. Watch me. Watch me. Watch me. La 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 la. Wrestle with Andy said they should have had the Jake Paul match happen at SummerSlam. Oh my God, where do you stop? Where do you stop? Where do you get off? Should have put Jake Paul at SummerSlam. We should put Money in the Bank on Logan. We should put their dad in the Hall of Fame. Just let's stop. Yeah, halftime scores. Let's do it. Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. I really want to know your halftime scores. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this. Yeah, I'd be about 7 as well. But we, Tim said 10 out of 10, no Bray. Delwyn said 7. Daniel said 7.5. WWE AEW fan said 6. Let Him In said 7. Scott said 6.75. Jack said 7.5. Jojo said 6.75. Jamie said 7. WWE fan 1000 says 8. Alexa Bliss Gamer said 7. Heel Santa says 8. Travis says 8. Heavy Chevy said 619. Boyaka Boyaka. Vishal said 6.5. Greg says 8. Bryson with a 9. WWE Fan 1000 with an 8. Stuttering Steve 7.5. Travis said they should have Logan and Jake as tag team champs. Lol. X Music, shout out to you, buds. Hope you well. Vishal 6.5. Derek said Liv really does seem like a good person and a fan who did the work. Trey said 7. Tony said 6. Aaron said 7.5. Elijah says 8. Jeff says 8. Kappa said 7. M. Sard says 7. Delwyn says 7. Killer Shock says 7. Paulie says 7. I think I'm seeing a pattern here. Adam said 6. Logan said 11. Timothy with a 10. Smurfy said 6. That screaming girl cost the Raptors the playoffs. I don't know about this. Aaron said 7.5. Primo Ruler said 9. No Fear said 7. Denzel says 8. Hang on. I like the Raptors. If I was to support an NBA team, it would be the Raptors. There is no way, right? Even as, and I'm going to say it, the biggest Raptors fan out there, right? There is no way that they can blame a young girl screaming on ruining their season. If that is any type of argument that any Raptors fan is having right now, you've lost the argument. No way should a team be in the point at any point where a young girl screaming means that they don't win a match or don't qualify for a playoff or whatever it might be. So I don't know what this story is. But as a bigger Raptors fan than Drake, I ain't using that as an excuse. I ain't using that as an excuse. DeMar DeRozan's daughter was screaming during the Raptors' free throws, which made them miss most of their free throws. No. If a young girl screaming is going to put off a highly tuned, highly paid professional athlete, right, who have to learn to block out like the crowd noise and whatever, and not let things like that distract them. If they can be derailed by a young girl screaming, they don't deserve to be in the play. They don't deserve to be basketball players, right? And I say that as the biggest Raptors fan this side of Toronto. Love them. The screaming girl made them miss their shots. There can't be there can't be anyone that is seriously blaming that young girl. I don't know this story, but I want to. What's Drake said about it? Is he going to write a diss track? He's going to write a diss track. It's God's plan. Raptors still play cool. Days, are you doing Joe Joyce fight tomorrow? No, we're not. We've got UFC Max Holloway tomorrow. Ooh. Big time Bex. I don't like anyone yelling at kids myself. I do have to work one for that. Doesn't matter whose daughter it is. They still shouldn't be distracted by that. Learn to drown it out, said WWE fan. Yeah, totally. I mean, that's the thing, innit? Could you imagine if like a girl screaming somehow derailed a WWE championship match? I mean, you could do it. Why not? We've never done it. I certainly don't remember it, where one person in the crowd was able to derail a WWE championship match. But that's wild. What were the players saying? Were any of the players blaming her? Is she like the most hated person in Toronto right now? I love it. They could sell her face on a dartboard in the Toronto gift shop. Then that way all the Toronto fans can have this dartboard and chucking darts at this young girl. Boo during our free throws. Here we go. Take that. That might be too far. I don't know how old she is. Good thing they don't play real sport like hockey. Can I just say, I hate when she does that. She did that when she was the SmackDown Women's Champion. When she says, "You're new." I think that's such a heel thing to say. We are your new Smack. Not everyone is happy at the thought of Liv being a champion. I don't think it really wins people over by saying, "We are your women's tag champs. I am your..." No, you're not. No, you're not. It gets my goat, that does. Just say we're the new women's tag team champs. Simple change. As soon as she says that, I just think, I want someone to beat her now. Stop imposing yourself on my life. Stop imposing yourself on my boundaries. Right. Unsurprisingly, they were talking, they're being interrupted. Alfie, shout out to you with a jumping controller. Chelsea and Sonya coming out. Listening to you was making me feel dumber and dumber by the minute. Do you know what? They should come out and go, "We are your tag team championship challengers." See what I did there? See what I did? That's what I would say. Here's Chelsea Green. How are you the tag team champs when you didn't beat the tag team champs? Oh, yeah, good point. Okay. How are you the tag team champs when you didn't beat the tag team champs? It was Becky and Lita that were tag team champs. You beat Becky and Trish. They weren't tag team champs. Ah. Adam Pearce, shots fired. The fact that we're being overlooked for this mediocre tag team. The only difference between these two and everyone else in this building are those tag team championships, says Chelsea. Do you know who we are? Okay. Right, and we get a brawl. So Sonya and Chelsea are the next challengers for Liv and Raquel. This is good for Liv and Raquel because I don't see them beating Liv and Raquel. So it looks like they're going to be holding these titles for a little bit longer. Ashton said next week the return of Yudong. Let's go. Let's go. Ashton, shout out to you, buds. Caden said they should be called the Karen Club. The Karen Club? Shinsuke. Sonya makes sense. How can Trish replace Lita as champion? It was bad booking, says PJ. No one's excited about Liv and Raquel, said EST. Chelsea is so hot, she needs an attitude adjustment. Liv and Raquel are the most cringe, said Hagen-Dazs. Well, that was awful, said Daniel. I'll tell you what, it doesn't seem like that segment went down very well. Rip Torn Fan said, how awesome was Bibby Lashley's WWE Championship run? Plus, what if Bibby challenges for the WWE and Universal belts? Will he be the one to dethrone Roman? I don't think, well, I mean, Bibbs is a heel. But people are feeling a bit sorry for him because of the fact he wasn't at WrestleMania. I think was he being presented as a heel on Monday? I mean, he was definitely the heel in the feud with Bray. And now he's in a feud with Bronson Reed. And I don't know if he's a heel or face in that. I don't know if we've turned him, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, Bobby and Roman would be a perfectly fine match. I don't see him being the one to beat Roman. I just don't think he's got the personality. I think he's got the look, but I don't think he's got the sparkling personality. I would lean more into the sharp suits, man. I think him dressed like really sharp, like getting out of like, imagine him like every time you see him rocking up to Raw, he's driving an amazing convertible. He's got women on his arm, like, you know, he's just surrounded by girls pulling up in a car. It's a little bit, I suppose, what we were doing with the VIP lounge. We had women involved then, and he was wearing sharp suits. But to be honest, that's when people were most into him. That's when it was like most working, was when he was being presented as this kind of Rolex wearing, sharp dressed guy, women, cars, You know what I mean? I'd love to explore that. Imagine, like, we have some vignettes with him in his house, like having a meeting with whoever, but maybe buying some watches or whatever it might be, and just let's get a bit more kind of look at his character. Because to be honest, his personality is just boring. I mean, whenever he cuts a promo, his promos aren't that interesting. So I don't think he's the one that should beat Roman, but I do definitely think we could do so much more with him than what we're doing. So much more. I like Bibbs. Bibbs for life. They tried to reinvent Bibbs as a modern day Ric Flair. Woo! Yeah, it works though. I mean, Ric Flair, as you say, you know, jet flying, limousine riding, wheeler dealing. He is someone that is definitely a blueprint that you can use. Right, Matt Riddle, Solo Sikoa. Thoughts on someone like Theory or Dominic cashing in on Cody if he conquers Roman at SummerSlam? No, well, I mean, like Theory maybe, but Theory had the briefcase last year. So for him to win it again this year would just feel like, well, why did we waste it last year? Whoa, here's Shinsuke. Oh my God, man, he's wearing a black robe. We've still got the CGI of the guitar. Shinsuke, we haven't seen Shinsuke in forever, man. It's great to have Shinsuke back. This is Shinsuke being booked under Triple H. I don't think we've seen it, have we? Shinsuke has got like a black entrance attire. I don't know what you would call it. I mean, it's like a jacket with a hood on. Sort of see Undertaker wearing something. Oh, he's having a match. Nakamura. It looks good. It's a Jedi robe. He's a Sith. Ah, yeah, that's a good comparison. Don't listen to them, listen to me. Shinsuke doesn't compare to you, says Emma. Emma's talking to Madcap. Shinsuke's got nothing on you. We need this. Go out there and prove why you will be a top pick in this draft. Let's do it. Yeah, he's fired up. Let's go. Little bit weird that we bring in Madcap out second. I would have thought we would have had Madcap come out first and then done like the big Nakamura entrance. Ding, ding, ding. Straight into action. Like. Interesting. Seemingly they want to make sure they're putting a bit of a spotlight here, not just on Shinsuke, but also on Madcap. Days, I tweeted you something. Okay. Cody has had meetings regarding potential acting roles in potential Zelda movie role and a Mortal Kombat movie role. Cool. That means that he'll be away for a little bit, though, if he gets it. That's the only downside in it. He'll be away. That's cool. James, appreciate it. Right, we are underway then with a match. Nakamura and Madcap. Madcap and Boogs should be a tag team, said Jim. Madcap turning heel, question mark. haven't got that vibe at the moment, but wouldn't be the worst. Madcap needs a new look. ASAP said Trap for Little Trap. Dasher Dog said Garcia next weekend. Nakamura with a sliding German suplex. Nakamura going knee strike. Down goes Madcap. Emma's concerned on the outside. Kinshasa. Nakamura in position. Charging over. Kinshasa connects. And Nakamura wins. Emma looks a bit disappointed, frustrated. Can you do Garcia next weekend? Don't know, dudes. I look at each week as it comes. Madcap gets caught, goes down. Shinsuke working on the arm. Emma grabs Madcap, drags him out the ring. Emma seemingly frustrated on the outside of the ring. He's having a bit of a go at Madcap. I don't know how I feel about that. They used that segment not only to bring Shinsuke back, but also to do something with Madcap, which is good, but I don't know if we were just trying a bit too much there. Carrion. Tick. Tock. So Scarlett puts a card down. That card is Shinsuke. That was the feud that was reported, Carrion and Nakamura. And honestly, I don't know, man. I don't know how you book that. Because I feel like both of them need to win. Tick. Tock. Days, do you think Drew will be back? Yeah. I think Drew will come back. Carrion sends a message. 3 years in here. Messages are like tumbleweed with Days and the chat. I am out of here. Messages are like tumbleweeds. What do you mean, dude? Jack said, I blame Stone Cold for part of it. Politics says, what would you say in? People saying, come on, Cross. Cross should lose a hair versus hair match, says Knight Rider. Is Mickey James AEW or WWE bound, said Jim. Is Mickey James AEW or WWE bound? Don't know, to be honest. I mean, I think that WWE would be able to use her. And I think also they'd probably not want her to go to AEW, so maybe a good chance she goes to WWE. I think they can. I mean, we had her before and we did some stuff, and that was all right. We did some pretty good stuff with her last time she was in. It's tricky, isn't it? Because really, you need to use them, but you can't really afford to have them get in the way of Bianca, Becky, Bayley. You know, those are the women you're really trying to build and push and promote. So, you know, it's like, you know, Trish and Lita are in for a little while. They'll go away soon. Like Mickey James came in, she went away. So kind of you bring people in, do a little something with them, then they go. And you keep trying to build up your current roster. So I don't know. It's a bit tricky, a little bit tricky, but I'm sure you could find something. You know, why couldn't Mickey be the leader of like a Damage Control? And then Bayley could have been, you know, done a solo thing. So, you know, you could do something like that. The Kinshasa knocked Madcap off Moss. What time are you doing UFC tomorrow? It's set up, but it's all set up tomorrow stream. Cross needs a feud with Bobby. Do you agree? They're both heels, I think. They're both heels. So I don't know, to be honest. I think Bobby just needs a reinvention. I think we need to get a hold of Bobby, and I think everyone just wants the flipping Hurt Business. That's what everyone wants. Everyone's waiting for the Hurt Business. So, yeah, let's try and get the Hurt Business back. Shinsuke on SmackDown. Yes. PJ said, with Trish back, I think Mickey could return to the E over AEW. Cypherus said, do you think Shinsuke was wrestling a bit sloppy in that match? I think there were a few little sloppy moments in that match, yes. But, I mean, we don't see Madcap week in, week out. We haven't seen Shinsuke in forever. It's not something that I was particularly worried about. But, no, I mean, I don't think anyone's looking at that last match as a classic. Cross should feud with Bray. It would help them, especially Cross, said Serious Gaming. Adoring fan said, is Nick Aldis going to go to AEW? I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. I mean, he's been out of NWA for a hot minute, hasn't he? Been out of NWA for a while, so I really like him. I definitely would love to see him go to WWE. Nakamura was a beast in NXT, said Aaron. Bobby's not a heel for the 100th time. Was he not a heel on Monday? He was a heel in the Bray feuds. And he was a heel when he was feuding with Brock. So unless he's just turned, which, as I said, could have happened on Monday. They're just showing Trish turning on Becky. So we're coming back from commercial break. I'm sure Shinsuke versus Madcap broke Meltzer's rating scale. The Tribal Chief Roman Reigns versus the almighty Bobby Lashley. Book it, says Knight Rider. So on Monday, Trish explains her actions. We're backstage with Ricochet and Braun. Viking, wow. Viking Raiders attack. Viking Raiders pick up some metal work. Oh my God, drive it into Braun. Braun goes flying. What? Valhalla screaming away. Viking Raiders. Oh my God. Destroying Braun and Ricochet. Look at Valhalla. Fair play. Bro. Both WWE and Impact have been good. There's no need to compare, said Sean. Val have not. Okay, here's the original bro. We've still 25 minutes to go. Here's Riddle making his way down. $8 days till Tank Garcia. Roman Reigns with Bloodline versus Bobby Lashley with Hurt Business, says Knight Rider. Days, apparently Vince scrapped the Hurt Business reunion. Hashtag fire Vince. We haven't seen that, have we? The Riddle coming down and the animals. I'm a bit over that, to be honest. I wish that Riddle had come back and we were just presenting him just a little different. Not saying it needed to be anything like drastic, but this is all exactly the same. So we had the CGI rhinos on screen as he kicks off his flip-flops. So obviously this is in revenge or for retaliation of being laid out for so long at the hands of Solo. They keep showing him being attacked on the Raw. Is this already the main event? Yes. Barrett said medical facility. Oh my God. Do you reckon it was a slip of the tongue by Michael Cole earlier then? Oh my God, I don't know whether I'm coming or going. I don't know if I'm at a hospital or a medical facility anymore. I don't know. I can't even tell if they're just playing with us at this stage. I really don't know. Solo's making his way down. Medical facility. Oh my God. Hashtag fire Vince. Cole thinks Riddle went to a hospital. Wade Barrett thinks it's a medical facility. I don't know what to think anymore. Hashtag fire Vince. We got some bad news. Hire Vince said we You need to start that movement. Hashtag hire Vince. Hire Vince. Yes. Paul Heyman's got a historic announcement. He said, I just got off the phone with your tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Crowd are booing. They don't like it. Set. 2 weeks. Live. Sammy and Kevin against Usos in 2 weeks. Well, there we go. 2 weeks. Corpus Christi. Smackdown. Is that the draft? Is that the same as the draft? What they should do is keep Vince around as consultant, then never have him provide consultancies on anything. Consultations. Right. There we go. Rematch in 2 weeks' time. Where's Autumn? Injured. Can't stand these Velcro straps. Yeah, awful. Vince needs to wipe that horrible moustache, said EST. Scott said, Heyman saying that to the Usos, not to KO and Sammy. They might actually lose the titles. He was looking at the Usos when he said it. We haven't got him in Mania. That's why he was there. Randy Orton can only return in one way, and that's an RKO out of nowhere. Paul said that looking at the Usos didn't see, said Denzel. Okay. They won't lose the belts, said EST. Can we get 1,000 new lawsuits to keep Vince busy? That's what we need to do. We said this before. You ain't gonna keep him occupied. You ain't gonna keep him away So you might as well just give him loads of things to do. WWE fan said, Reigns is losing his patience with the Usos. Ronnie said, I think the tag match will end in a no contest and then it'll be a 6-man tag at Backlash. Mason said, do you still collect figures? No. I like them, but I haven't picked up a new one in a long time. So at this point, I've probably got to say I don't. But it's I still keep an eye on them, and I still like them, and I still want to do toy hunts where I go looking for them. But could I sit here and show you a load of new ones that I got? No. To be honest, I mean, like lockdown really took me out of it. Really took me out of it. Which because you couldn't go to the shops and buy them, and I've said like I don't want to just get them online because toy hunts was obviously a big thing that we did. And I couldn't toy hunt during lockdown and pandemics and all of that. So just sort of took us out of it, unfortunately. But we'll get back out there. We'll have a look. We'll see what's going down in Action Figure Town. Vince is the only guy around who delivers on guarantees. Paul didn't say it as a spoiler, so you know that the Usos are losing, said Bryson. Yeah, I feel like the Usos are losing, definitely. I mean, they were the champs for so long. I don't expect them to get the belts back so soon, to be honest. I think that Raw, SmackDown, both are long overdue new set stage, says Matt. You could have done unboxings. Yeah, but they don't get views. People just don't seem to be that bothered. We've done figure reviews before, and views on that so-so. I think toy hunts are seemingly what people really enjoy. So buying the figures, not toy hunting them, and then creating videos that just don't tend to get much engagement didn't seem like the right way forward, to be honest. EST said Vince can take up crocheting as far as I care. Okay, we are just seeing that there's the Intercontinental Championship match next week. And there we have Liv and Raquel against Sonya and Chelsea. Braun and Ricochet take on the Viking Raiders next week. Okay, how long we got? We got 16 minutes left to go. 16 minutes. I feel like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like this second hour has kind of really dragged my score down. Kicks coming in by Riddle. It was nice to see Nakamura, though. What if Roman replaces the Usos with the Gorillas of Destiny? That would be sick. Justin said, I've got 325 figures now. Very cool. Very cool. Paul Heyman has held titles more than Roman has during his almost 1,000-day reign, said Knight Rider. Smooch said, did you catch when Paul said losing patience with you? He was looking at the Usos. Mm-hmm. Kaz said, Vince needs to pay attention to his neck as much as he does his face. PJ said, Viking Raiders look like two guys that met at Comic-Con and decided to form a team. They're booked that way as well, which is really annoying. Big Time Back said, did you see the Meltzer reported that 45... Yeah, we spoke about it. Jack said, my wife, all the wrinkles from their mother look like the sister. Paul Heyman has had more titles than anyone else in WWE. Roman's got loads more relatives. They could easily replace the Usos, but I would hate that, says Maggie. Shot coming in there by Solo as Riddle goes down. How long we got? 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Ernest said, Riddle needs to go back to those boxer briefs. The purple panties don't fit the style. He looks even more naked. Yeah, I mean, look, with Riddle, for me, there needs to be a refresh. Definitely feel like we need a new coat of paint on Riddle. I think we could have brought him back to have been a little more serious. Still, like, have his kind of bro moments. But, I don't know. I feel like there's definitely more to Riddle than what we're getting out. Chop coming in there by the street champion, Solo Sikoa, in control against Riddle at the moment. That looked like a potato, said Derek. I still want to see a segment between Riddle and Rob Van Dam. Against the ropes goes Riddle, who gets tripped over. Old yellow shoes on the outsides. Just they don't suit him. Right, is the referee telling them to leave ringside? Is he going to send the Usos as well? He's got to get rid of the Usos. Yeah, so the Usos have gone. Sammy and KO have gone. You're out of there! He made a big song and dance of it. As he should. I don't think he made a big... Did he make a big song and dance of it for KO and Sammy? No, he didn't really. Although, I was just watching him. He did that. You. Out of there! He had to really wind it up. And then he went bigger for the Usos, which makes more sense because they're heels. You. Man, he had to properly wind it up. You can't just throw it out of there like without winding it up. Because it'll just come out all feeble. Do you know what I mean? I'll be like, oh, the more you wind it up, the more you can be like, ah. That is a highly trained referee. Highly trained referee. Too many referees, when they start out, they just, they panic and they're like, you're out of there like that. And it's like, no, can't do that. Can't just... Out of there! It's like, it's a real satisfying... Really satisfying. You should try it. It's really like... I feel like I'm hitting a home run when you do it. Amazing. That's reinvigorated me for the last 10 minutes. Back in it now. Days UFC isn't set up for tomorrow. Should be. Alfie said, thought you was going to do the dusty elbow. Oh, the bionic elbow. Days, is Tank going to knock out Ryan? Yeah, I'll lean that way. I like Tank. We said Daisy's arms are going to feel this tomorrow. They're feeling it now. Oh, my God. It's the most I'm out of breath. It's the most exercise I've done in months. Knackered. Need a sleep. Need a nap now. This is why I've got so much respect for referees that aren't Aubrey Edwards. But in all fairness, I mean, the amount of dancing she does, her cardio must be insane. Do you know what I mean? If I was to do the amount of, like, that she does, I'd be like, I'd be asleep on the floor. I'd be a sleeping gorilla. Out of there! Do you reckon the referees turn up every week and they go up to Triple H and they're like, have I got a you're out of there moment? Have I got the you're out of there? Not this week, John. Ah, you can't. Go on. I can have what I've been practicing. Come on. We'll try and get you on next week, John. We'll try and get you on next week. Okay. And then next week he's like, have I got a you're out of there thing, yeah? No. We've had to move a few things. Vince didn't want to do it. Oh, God. I love the idea that it's like the one thing the referees most look forward to. It's all they've got. God bless them. Days with AEW All In. If you go on the website, all you need to fill in is the first and second name and an email. That doesn't need to be valid. Do you think the number is inflated? Yes. But I also think that that number is always inflated. So do I think that 50,000 are going to buy tickets? No. But it's got to be a good sign that... Well, it's got to be a good sign. At least spell Bray correctly. Bray Wyatt news needed, says Predator Reborn. Don't know what he's going through. I mean, like, honestly, I'd be looking at the draft in 2 weeks. So that's the next port of call. I mean, whatever he's going through, it's got to be... Well, I don't want to say it's serious, but I mean, like, it's kept him out of WrestleMania. Do you know what I mean? You don't come back and just, like, on the wage he's on as well, because I think he's getting good money, and miss WrestleMania. So, like, for him to have been kept out of WrestleMania, like, it's got to be pretty serious. Chester said, Usos will lose in 2 weeks against Sami and Kevin, and Roman cannot make matches. Referee has now been approached by many baseball teams as a bowler. His topspin is out of this world, according to reports. Right, we've got Solo down. Riddle going against the rope. So, obviously, if you are just joining us, one thing we definitely know about this main event is that Usos, Sami, Kevin have been removed from ringside. Back elbow there by Riddle. Riddle going up, looking for the floating bro. 1, 2. Shoulder up. I don't mind this match, you know. I mean, it's got something to it, as we said, you know. Riddle put on the shelf for like, don't know how many months. Months and months. Months and months. Oh, what? What's this? What's this? Didn't that mean anything to them? Nah, listen, if they're going to stay around at ringside, DQ, look, no, now Sami, Kevin, what? Now we just don't listen to... Sorry, but in my world, that means something. That means... That's one of the most heel things I have ever seen in my life. I don't know that I've ever seen anything more... I'd say that's a bigger heel move than that kid that put off the Toronto Raptors free throws. To ignore a "you're out of there." Not on my watch. That's not a version of wrestling that I want to be a part of. He went big as well. It wasn't just a little, can you please go? Yeah? It wasn't a, I think you should be out of there, right? It wasn't one of, it was, you are out of there. Solo picks up the win. Solo picks up the win because of all of the confusion at ringside. So, yeah, Solo picking up a win. Or Riddle. Riddle climbing up. Solo came up, gets kicked in the midsection. I think, did he get kicked in the dong? That looked real close to the dong. So now we're seeing Solo. Plants Riddle on the commentary table. Commentary table doesn't break. So he tips the commentary table over. Yes. That's cool. I wonder if that was meant to happen. That's cool. That looks cool. The table didn't break, so he flips it over. See, that looks better, that does. How many times do you see someone go through a commentary table? It's not often that you see a commentary table tipped on top of someone. That's like next level disrespect. Look, he's trapped. He can't get out. Sammy and Kevin are having to try and help. Yeah, I like that. I really like that. I likes it. Crowder booing. Riddle is holding on to his ribs. Ejections are a joke at this point, says Mitchell. Yeah, man. Looks good. That was dope AF, said Derek. Riddle needs to have a rematch, said Preston. Booze raining down for Solo. Let's get some medics in there. Let's get some medics. They're asking Riddle if he's no one's doing anything. Riddle's there. He's got his arm like, and the ref's like, "Are you all right?" And he's like, "No." And Sammy's like, "You're not all right." He's like, "No, I'm not all right. Can I have a doctor?" Do you need a doctor? Yeah, I need a doctor. Okay, can we get a medic? Yeah, there should be one at ringside, but I don't know where he's gone. I think he's gone for a hot dog. I'm not sure. Yeah, we need another one. Send us a medic. Yeah, we're going to send someone. Going to send someone down. You just lie there, mate. Don't you worry. I know you just had a commentary table dumped on you, but I mean, legally, he could probably have his day in court there, because we really should have a doctor at ringside for, when there's going to be a physical altercation like this. I can't imagine this is news to WWE. Triple H, someone's just been attacked at rings. What? They just had a match, and afterwards someone was attacked. What? No. Attacked? Outside of a match? Yeah, the match had ended, and he attacked him after. No. Is he all right? No, we need to find a doctor. No. Well, get one. Get one. We should have had one there. Amazing. Amazing scenes. He's off to a medical facility. Yay! Or Michael Cole might say hospital. Right, mate. Let's ask scores and see what people's scores are. Don't you dare go anywhere before you at least let me know what you scored this show. I was at a 7 at halfway point. I feel like most of you were as well. I'll be quite interested to see how that has changed, or even if it has changed. Boom. It's scripted. That's why Solo won, because in a real fight, Riddle would end Solo, says Kevin. Jojo, shout out to you. 9 out of 10 show. I hope the referee enjoys his baseball career. Cole just mentioned Randy, said Smurfy Murphy. Mr. Dell Jr. said people need to stop hating face. People need to boo the heels because the faces deserve more love. Brian with a 6, Brandon with a 10, Outlaw said 6.5 medical facilities. Eric said 4.5, Preston said 6, Sam Man says box-like structure. Zoom Station says they came back after the eviction. Triple H. Brony said 7, Heavy Chevy said 7, Mitchell said, what's your score? I'm probably like a 6.5. I don't think that second part of the show had me the same way the first part did. Yeah, I think my score would have just dipped down a little, but it wasn't a disaster. Wasn't a disaster. 6, very silly ending, says Arlene. Big Time says 8. Jojo 725. EST 7.5. Legend Killer 6.5. Hal with a 2, Big Guy with a 6, Dan with a 6.5, John said 6.14, Tex said 7. I missed the main event. I was getting some peach pie, said Ernest. Yes, let's go. Peach pie in the house. That's a great reason to miss the main event. That is a great reason. Who won? It was Solo that won, but you know the whole, you're out of there. Both the Usos and Sammy and Kevin, it just ignored it. Do you know what would have been fun? If the Usos ignored it because they're the heels, so they came back to ringside, and then you had Kevin and Sammy in the entranceway not knowing what to do, and they were like, should we go back? And they're like, no, listen, dude, he did the you're out of there thing. Do you remember? You're out of there. We're not allowed to go down. And then like Sammy's like, no, but we got to. Like, he did the you're out of there to them as well, and they're down there. Like, I'd love to see them arguing in the entranceway, trying to decide, do we go down? Do we not go down? What do we do? Alfie showing off the guns. Alfie with Bobby Lashley, Bibby Lashley muscles. Alfie, shout out to you, buds. Boss. Predator Reborn, shout out to you. Says, I brought my son this month's WWE Kids magazine. I was overjoyed to see you with a section inside. Also, who do you think will dethrone Roman Reigns? Predator Reborn, shout out to you, buds. Yeah, we've done a little segment with WWE Kids magazine. Honestly, probably going back to about 2017, about 2017, I think. I'm trying to think when the first one was. So, yeah, I mean, that's quite a number of years that we've provided a little segment. Do you know what I was thinking of doing, actually? I think I've got every issue, like going back to like 2016. I was quite tempted. I don't think they would mind. I'd probably just have to check with them first to actually start putting up the old articles. Because, I mean, what does that affect anything? Now it doesn't, does it? If I understand them not wanting me to show the current one. But, like, if I start putting up the ones from, like, 2016, that way people can see what was actually in the magazine all them years ago. And, you know, that could be kind of fun. So, yeah, I really like, genuinely as well. I mean, they don't sponsor these streams or anything. In fact, I mean, like, I don't really do a great deal with them, to be honest. But I do genuinely do like the product. I do like the magazine. I think that for kids in particular, it's great. I mean, if I was a kid and for, I think it's like £5, and I don't know why it's not available in America, but it's a UK thing, but like you get genuine like free gifts, which can be interesting, different, quirky. I love different and quirky, but you can get like free gifts, and they've had some good ones. They've done like WWE megaphones, like little megaphone things, and different wrestlers, shades, and just like bits and bobs, you know. But then like, you know, posters very good for posters, competitions and whatever. I don't take part in, obviously, but again, if I was a kid, little colouring thing, post it off, and then like you can win something, a figure or whatever. They give away like replica belts and all this kind of stuff. So, and they've got like exclusive interviews, and they really do interview the wrestlers. Like, they're not just made up. I know that they genuinely do get those interviews. I've actually been to Raws, and the people that run the magazine have been there, like in the kind of VIP lounge and all that stuff, you know. So I know they do get like treated well and get to interact with the wrestlers and everything. So they're cool, man. I really like them. I think it's good magazine. So Predator Reborn, shout out to you. Who dethrones Roman? I think it'll be Cody. I think Cody is probably the person that it should be. I thought it would be Cody at WrestleMania, but I think that they are trying to get to the 1,000 days. So I think they're trying to get to the 1,000 days. They're trying to get to maybe beat Pedro's record as well. I think as soon as you get past that, though, it becomes difficult. I mean, to beat Hogan's reign, you've got to go till, I think it's like maybe SummerSlam next year or something. And like, yeah, it's becoming difficult. There's people that are definitely getting tired of Roman's title reign. Definitely we're teasing a lot of dissension at the moment in the bloodline. I think that it feels to me like bloodline's starting to split. We know that Roman wants to take a break. We know that getting to the 1,000 days now clearly is something that they wanted to do. I think it's all eyes on SummerSlam. I think we do the rematch against Cody, and I think that we crown Cody champion there. Now, whether someone cashes in on Cody at that moment, that could be interesting, because we will have a Money in the Bank person crowned by that point. But I don't think the Money in the Bank person should cash in on Roman. The reason why I say that is because the point was made earlier about Cody potentially being that person. I don't think that's how Cody should get it. The sneaky kind of cashing in way, you know. But equally, I don't think that's how Roman should lose it, because whoever beats Roman is a made man. They are going to get a boost. They are going to have a benefit to being the person that beat Roman. Well, if you did it by cashing in, by doing it on a weakened Roman, I don't think you get the same boost. I don't think you get the same props. It would be, imagine if Undertaker's streak had ended because someone cashed in on him. Imagine that. Imagine someone ended Undertaker's streak because he was the champion and someone cashed in on the Undertaker. Like, you would be the person that did it, but you wouldn't really get the recognition for it, if that makes sense. And I think that whoever beats Roman needs to beat Roman, not cash in on Roman, because yeah, you'll be the person that did it, but you'll never get the recognition that you will get if you beat him properly, you know? So I wouldn't have the person that cash in on Roman, but they could cash in on Cody. If Cody wins at SummerSlam, you could have someone take that moment away, because as we said, there is value in the chase. The chase is where the money is. And so, you know, you can have Cody trying to get to the mountaintop, finally gets there. We're all starting to dream about, right, what's a Cody title reign going to look like? And oh my God, forget about it. It's gone. It's gone. He ain't got the belt anymore. Here's Seth. Or Logan. No, not Logan. Not Logan. Oh. Better not be Logan. Predator Reborn. Shout out to you, my friends. But look at where Bray is now. How would he ever get built to be the one to dethrone Roman realistically? Yeah, I mean, that'll be a bit of a challenge. It's one they could do. I mean, you could do it. I've said before, like, if you are someone that thinks that they are pretty good at booking, right? And you think that you have some good ideas for, like, oh, WWE should do this, WWE should do that, right? This would be the challenge, wouldn't it? This is what the job would be. The job would be, like, you know, get Lacey Evans to be a hated heel. We want her to win the title at SummerSlam. So there's your mission. You've got to take Lacey Evans from where she is now and get her to be, like, winning the title at SummerSlam, and for it to not just be a fluke or whatever, you know. And then, like, same with Bray, right? You got to take Bray where he is now, and the whole Uncle Howdy and all that story. You're going to have to continue with that. 'Cause you can't just drop that. You're going to have to continue with that. You're going to have to satisfy the fans with that, but you've also got to build him up because we want him to be the one that beats Roman. That's the game, innit? That's the challenge. If you are good at booking, then that's the challenge. That's what you'd have to do. I mean, those are the kind of challenges that I'd be like, yeah, man, I'd love to get my teeth into that. I'd love to give that a go. Because I'd want to lean into bringing the Fiend back. I'd want to be leaning into Firefly Funhouse episodes. I'd want to be leaning into getting some flipping answers for this story. You know, the Uncle Howdy thing. For example, why have we had so many different masks? Just give me an answer on that. Give me an answer on that. Why has the mask kept changing? Are there more people, or is it just Uncle Howdy? I feel like there's definitely questions that I could do with getting some answers on. So I'd want to answer those. I'd want to keep doing Funhouse. I'd want to keep teasing the Fiends. I'd want to have Bray in an engaging feud as we build him up towards Roman. And then as soon as we got like that good feud done over the summer, turn Bray's attention to Roman, and then like you'd have to just gauge the reaction and see if you've got people, you'd need a good feud. I don't think you could bring Bray back and just go straight after Roman. That would take so much work, man. To bring Bray back, unless he came back as the Fiend. In all fairness, if Roman was in the ring gloating about how there's no one left for him to beat, he's beaten everyone, and then the lights go out, and when they come back on, the Fiend was in the ring. I think it's that simple with the Bray one, to be honest. I think that alone would hook people. That alone, people would be like, oh my God. Because everyone's waiting for the Fiends. So you could either tease the Fiend, do a Bray feuds, and tease that the Fiend is coming, or do you just go bang? Putting the Fiend in the ring as a way of Bray returning would be the equivalent of when you drop a Mentos in a Coke and it all like boils over and goes crazy. I feel like that's what you'd be doing. Roman's the Coke. The Fiend is the Mentos. You put it in. That could be good, man. So I think you could get there, but it's just a case of like, even with that, you've got to build on it. Do you know what I mean? You can't just do that and be like, job done. You've still got to plan the weeks out. What do you do after that? You can't have the Fiend come out every week. You're going to have Bray cut promos. I still think you need answers for the Howdy stuff. How does Howdy fit into this? Is Howdy someone that Solo needs to be aware of? How are you going to deal with the Usos? How does Alexa fit into it? So you're going to have to answer all of that stuff. So, I mean, it would still need to be planned out, but yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll be Bray, to be honest. I don't think Bray's the one that they're going to pull the trigger on. Obviously, we don't know what's happening with him at the moment, so we don't know what this issue is. The reports are that it's an illness. What if it's not? What if it's not? What if, it wasn't quite working and they were looking to change the story or whatever, and like Bray wasn't happy with Summer and there was a bit of a falling out? I mean, I don't think Bray would walk out and do what like Sasha and Naomi did, so I don't think it's that, but I don't know. This is part of the problem of not knowing, isn't it? I mean, you just don't know kind of what's gone down with like where we are and what's going on. I mean, to be honest, I don't know. If it was that, then at least, we know that he's healthy. I don't want him to be suffering or having to deal with anything. It's that, hopefully he's all right. So it's a tricky one. I mean, I see people on like Twitter talking about like, oh, just let him be. He'll soon reveal as to what's going on. I do agree with that. I do agree, like, let him be. But equally, I can understand why Bray fans are like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, people are concerned. People are worried. People want to know what's going. They loved the guy. He's come back. There was a load of excitement for his comeback, and now he's just completely vanished. And people are like, they want to know what's going on. They want to know where he is, if he's all right and everything. So like, I can totally understand both sides. I can understand people saying, give him room. We'll find out in time. And that's the sensible way to look at it. But then equally, I can understand people going, what's the latest? Have you heard anything? What's going on? When's he coming back? Will he be at the draft? Will we get the Fiends? Like, what's happening? Because, I mean, that was a big return. Much hyped return. So everyone got built up. They're all excited. And now he's gone. But as we said, I mean, the reports are that it's not his fault. But there is a rumor that he's dealing with mental health concerns. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's. I mean, that might have just come out of the illness thing, So could be something to do with mental health. And listen, that's serious stuff. You can't mess around with that stuff, If you're not in a good place, like mentally, like you've got to get yourself sorted. So if it's that, I hope he's getting the help he needs and on the mend and whatever. I don't know. I mean, you don't want it to be that. I don't want it to be that. I don't want it to be like an illness, a physical illness either. So I don't want it to be that. I don't know. I think I'm like everyone else. You just want him to come back and you just want to get going with some stories and do you know what I mean? So we'll see. But without knowing what's going on, that's why, I mean, I don't think that you would bring him back after this time away and then put him into a program with Roman, because if he's struggling with mental health, it would not be fair to put that baggage on him. It wouldn't be fair to go, okay, welcome back. We're going to make you champion. You're going to carry the company now. Okay. Like that just wouldn't strike me as a fair thing to do to him. Like, I know on the one hand, it's like, oh yeah, he's been made champion. That's a great thing. But equally, think of all the extra pressures that come with it and media and like appearances, main eventing. Like you are carrying the show. You are carrying the brands. So if it is that, then that wouldn't be fair. If it's a more physical thing, that might be different. If it was like, I don't know, say he broke his leg. So he broke his leg. He's healed now. So now now he can do it. He can carry that weight because everything's good again. So this is what I'm saying without knowing exactly what's going on. It's very hard to put your finger on like, what are they going to do with him, AEW will lose the Elite and Jericho if Tony brings back Punk. Jericho already cleared it. He had a knee brace on, so who knows? That's true. He was wearing a knee brace. That's true. The issue is Roman isn't a great heel. He misses way too many days, which makes him not credible. And the matches he does are formulaic, says Mitchell. Bryson said, I bet AEW would get rid of their top stars for WWE top stars. Brian said WWE had buyer's remorse on Bray twice. People need to stop hating on Roman. People wanted Roman to be a heel. People hated Roman as a face. People got their wish, and now they want it to end. I don't get it, said Mr. Dell Jr. Well, I mean, what I would say is it's always hard to know what the majority are thinking. So you will always, this is why I don't mind sharing my opinions on this platform, because I accepted a long time ago that we all have different opinions as to what should happen in wrestling and where wrestling should go and who should be pushed and how they should be pushed. And if you think about the whole roster and who you think should be pushed and how they should be pushed and who should be champ and when they should get those belts and how they get those belts and who their first feud is and who should beat Roman. And you just think of the thousands and thousands and thousands of decisions that have to be made to put together SmackDown, Raw, build to WrestleMania Backlash. Like there is no way that any two people on this planet would agree on every single thing, every detail in wrestling. There is no way. Now, I know we're not talking about the little details. We're talking about big picture stuff. We're talking about should Roman still be champ, right? Which is clearly not a little detail. That's a big picture thing. But, I mean, there's going to be people that are going to say yes. There's going to be people that are going to say no. There's going to be people that are going to say he should have it till SummerSlam. There's going to be people that will say he should have lost it to Drew at Clash at the Castle. There's going to be people that will say he should have lost it to Riddle on SmackDown. There's going to be people that say he should have lost it to Sammy. There'll be people that say he should have lost it at WrestleMania. There'll be people that say he should beat Bruno Sammartino's records and have that belt in 2028. So you're going to have a mixed bag on any question you ask in regards to wrestling. But where's the majority? And that's hard to know. What do the majority of people think? And, we don't have like the access to data that WWE do to be able to kind of make the decisions based on that. Really, it just comes down to personal preference, doesn't it? Comes down to personal preference. What do you prefer? And, as I said, this is why it doesn't really bother me sharing my opinions as often as what I do. Because it's just my personal preference, really. This is what I would do. This is what I would like to see. This is the direction I would like it to go. If it don't go that way, it's fine. Then, we'll see where it goes and continue having the conversation accordingly. So, it's one of them, innit? I don't, some people will want him to lose the title now, next week, last year, next year, 5 years' time. I would just say enjoy it. Enjoy it if you are enjoying it. And if you're not enjoying it, it'll change soon. Everything changes in wrestling. Everything comes to an end. So I'm sure you haven't got long to wait. And then Roman will lose it and we'll be on to something else. Mitchell said, my issue is Roman gets 3 events off and that counts towards his title reign. I know that WWE is scripted, but I don't like when it's obvious that they are scripting something like 1,000 days. Well, I mean, it's a very interesting conversation because what's the expectation? I mean, I think the old school rule is that the belt's defended every 30 days if you're champ. So as long as that belt gets defended every 30 days, then it should be old school booking mentality should be that we're covered, basically. Him not being on the shows isn't so much a problem because basically you're missing out on promos. You're missing out on, if he was on the show this week, he would have said a few words, would have cut a promo. His presence would have been there. It would have been nice. Someone could have squared up to him or whatever, but I don't think him not being there tonight is an issue. You can definitely make the argument that him not being at WrestleMania Backlash, whatever we're calling it, him not being there is a problem because what are we doing in May? But then saying that, I would counter by saying, well, let's have him defend the title on SmackDown. If he defends the title against someone on SmackDown, then we should be covered for May. Maybe just look at it more as a calendar month, As long as he defends the title in April, which he did at WrestleMania, we're covered for April. So now we need to worry about May. When's he going to defend the title in May? And actually, if it was looked at more that way, then it would help to make his matches even bigger if people knew you get one a month, basically. Every month, once a month, you'll get a Roman match. Might be on Raw, might be on SmackDown, more than likely be at the live event, premium live event. But, it might be on Raw, it might be on SmackDown, might be on the premium live event. But once a month, every 30 days, that belt will be defended. That is the minimum expectation. Anything above that is basically the champions going above and beyond, showing their fighting champions. But the expectation is every 30 days. And as I said, WrestleMania covers us for April. But I don't think he'll be at Backlash. So he needs to defend it on SmackDown. So for me, I would say if he doesn't defend, if we're sat here in, 6 weeks' time and he still hasn't defended the title, then I agree. Then I would be upset. But by and large, I think we're all right. I don't actually know how many times he defended the title last year. And I certainly don't know if it was every month. We won't do it now because we will wrap this up. I know there's people crying they want to go. We'll stick around 4 minutes. 4 minutes and then we'll go. But yeah, it was, I'd be interested. Genuinely, I'd be interested in how many times did he defend it last year? Did he defend it every single month? If he did, yeah, man, that wouldn't bother me then. If it's no, and honestly, we might have missed a month or two, like here or there, then then maybe we've got a problem. Why do you think they don't let Roman win clean? Well, sometimes they do. We have seen him win clean. I think he won clean against Riddle on SmackDown. Then there was cheating, obviously, against Drew. There was cheating against Sammy. There was cheating against Cody. So, I mean, there's been some big high-profile matches where we've had cheating. Was there cheating against Kevin? I'm trying to think if we had cheating against Kevin Owens at the Rumble. I can't remember, Can't remember if there was cheating against Kevin Owens. Don't believe there was cheating when he faced Riddle. So there's definitely some matches that he has won clean. But a lot of the high-profile ones, certainly recently, have had bloodline. But then saying that, it all ties in with the story, doesn't it? You're not really meant to respect. You're not really meant to respect that Roman is like this amazing champion. He's meant to be a heel, and you're meant to want to see someone basically get the better of him and someone beating him. And so, that's part of the reason why. Dan said, I get he's a heel, but come on, let him be legitimate. Yeah, but the problem is, if he was legit, I mean, it is true. I would also like to see him win more matches clean, because I just think it's better for him as well. And it will mean more when the faces beat him. But I think maybe that balance isn't quite right at the moment. But the problem you run is that if he is a heel and he's going to win matches, you might run the risk of people cheering him, thinking he's cool. It's Roman, do you know what I mean? Damn, man, he's so good. I know that he lays into the crowd, lays into the local sports team, but damn, man, he's at least this way you're kind of not allowing people to think that, because the conversation is he wouldn't be champ if it wasn't for the Usos, if it wasn't for Solo. So I think that's part of the reason. Right, okay, let's end this poll. I think we've been chatting for quite a bit. Looks like Roman only had 11 televised matches in 2022. Yeah, I can believe that we definitely dropped the ball a month here or there. And maybe even some of those were in the same month as well. And actually, if there was only 11 matches, wasn't his last match of 2022 just a tag match with Thingy? I don't think that... Did he defend the belt in December, actually? Don't know that I can remember Roman defending the title in December. But obviously he had that tag match, but it's not the same as a title defense, is it? Days is the man, love when he plays with the audience. Roman is in love with many knowing what Hillary did. Roman is love with many knowing what Hillary did to him about that story. Days, do you think Punk is the answer to AEW's woes and helps turn their business around? A lot of people are holding out prayers for him. I think he helps. He was with them before and they were doing okay. We were getting around 1 million mark. Since he's gone, the interest has dipped down. So is he the answer to being a bit of a spark for them and kind of, kickstarting the business? Sure, yeah. But you've got to have something to build on top of it. And I don't know that they've got that, to be honest. I don't know that they've got anything they can capitalize. CM Punk can bring in eyes and you can do something with him, but is the rest of the show going to keep people around, Because CM Punk's gone and seemingly those extra people he brought with him have gone as well. They seemingly haven't seen anything that's kept them around. So yeah, I mean, CM Punk can definitely help, but he's not the be all and end all. He's not going to, it's not that we're going to bring CM Punk back and we're going to be smashing over 1 million every single week now. You've got to use him right, and you've got to have something else interesting. You've got to still put on a good show. Just bringing back CM Punk ain't going to be enough. So, but a big help, definitely. People say Roman needs to fight more, but have no problem with Cody taking almost a year off, then walking in at 30 to win the Rumble and main event WrestleMania, says Aubrey Edwards. Brian said, thoughts on Drew going dark on Twitter and blocking out WWE. I think it's probably storyline. I really struggle with buying social media stuff like that. I believe Bailey came out and said bye on social media, which got some traction, and that turned out that was storyline. So we know that they're using social media for storyline in regards to Bailey. I never saw it, but we saw them just doing LA Knight, and so LA Knight and Xavier, that played out on social media as well. I never saw it this week, but that played on social media. They played it on SmackDown. So, could it be a case that we're teasing a bit of a character change? Could it be that we're, doing something along those lines? Yeah, definitely. So I would say, keep an eye on it. But for me, it's, I'm not at the point where I'm like, yeah, this is definitely, he's walked out. Oh my God, it's, it's over. Did you see Nico appeared at Clash at the Castle, jumped into the ring, got tackled? He did it for a YouTube video. I don't know who that is. Jack said, I like the idea of Bailey so far with going for the belt. Cody was out 6 months last year with a legit injury. Cody will beat Roman and Seth will win at WrestleMania 40 to end the 1,000 days, said Mr. Dell Jr. Right, we're done. We are done. Appreciate people joining us. This show, I don't know. I mean, it had some stuff. It was all right. Didn't blow my mind. About a 6.5. I feel like this week's been a bit of a flat week, to be honest. I think that last week there was a lot of hope, optimism coming out of WrestleMania. I feel like this week is a bit of a back to normal. Let's I feel like this. Do you know what this week feels like to me? It feels like we're rolling our sleeves up. That's what it feels like. It feels like last week we were ready for the party and the party never came. Right, and everyone was disappointed, and the conversation was fire Vince, and Vince is, the biggest problem ever. I feel like this week Vince hasn't been the conversation. This week it's been more right. Backlash coming up, summer coming up. Let's get to work, and it's like let's start some new feuds. Let's bring back Riddle. Let's get the women's tag titles over here. Let's bring back Shinsuke. Let's do something with Madcap. Let's put some teasers in about the Usos. Do you know what I mean? We're doing these things. There's nothing real seismic. There's nothing massive. There's nothing that's like, oh my God. I mean, it's nice to have Shinsuke back. But I mean, that was announced, so we did know. But again, there, him and Carrion getting teased. So that's just how it kind of comes across to me, is that this week's been a week of that as we maybe start to take those steps now away from WrestleMania, look towards Backlash, look towards the summer, and, start to tell the next stories that need to be told as we come out of WrestleMania. So, yeah, all right week. Nothing to really write home about, but obviously we'll see what next week brings as we now start to build on those foundations. So hopefully we're going to have a real fun week next week, but we'll see. Appreciate the support. Thanks a lot for joining us. Have a great evening. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.